What's up? What's up? What's up? Hopefully everyone's having a great day. We are going to get started. Just here in another minute, we're going to let everyone jump on. Make sure that there's no one missing, no one left behind. So we'll give it another minute, Armando, and we'll get going. If you guys can post in the chat box where you're from, where you're located. You may know, all of you may know us, or you may not, but we like to know who's on here, where you're from. That way we get to know you a little bit. So if you can post in there. I'm Bert Urkowski. I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is Armando Gomez Jr. I don't know if you like everyone calling you. I was posting your name everywhere, and I'm like, should I put the Junior in there?
Business-wise, I don't do it as Junior. No.
I hear you. Elliot says, I can hear you, but no video. Elliot, just refresh. You should have video. If you guys can see us, please let us know. What's up, Mike? What's up, Renee, Lance, Amanda, Adam? What's going on? Keith? Some of these names are obviously very familiar, which is good. If you guys can let us know, what up, Chris, Amy? If you guys can hear us, I can see and hear you both. So, Elliot, just refresh your screen. Chris, what's going on? Eric, Glenn, awesome. So we're going to get started. All right, so my name is Bert Urkowski. I'm one of the co-founders of Optimize Real Estate. We help real estate team leaders, brokers, agents across the country generate leads every single month in their real estate business. Our mission is to partner with top agents and brokers across the country to help them grow and scale their business one lead at a time. It is my pleasure to have Armando Gomez on this call with us. Our goal today is to drop as much knowledge as possible on lead conversion, online lead conversion particularly. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of numbers. Armando, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, who he works with, stuff like that, but he's closing 1 out of every 58, or I think it's 58.59 leads into closings. 34 year to date, 19 of them coming straight from Facebook, right? I generate the leads for his team, and he closes them with him and his team, right? 97% of their business is coming from Facebook alone, and he's setting one appointment every single day on average. So there is nobody better in the business than Armando. So you guys have the best person to learn from. So take notes. If you learn one thing, all I ask is that you take one thing, get clear on what that is that you want to learn from this call. Ask it in the chat box. At the end, we're going to have a live Q&A for as long as we need to go up until 5 p.m. Because both of us have other things to do and other business to take care of as well. So we have 2 hours with you guys if we need that. So post in the chat all your questions. Again, Armando, thank you. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. And for those that don't know you, get to know you a little bit.
Nah, man, hey, appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you having me. I've only been doing this for about 2 years. Actually just started my third year last month in May. So it's coming out the gates of my third year. But from the jump, I've been Joshua Smith, who's the owner of the real estate team that I work with. I'm his personal ISA. So when I jumped in, I just started facilitating his whole database, whether it be all of his old leads. And the dude's been in the game at the time for about 12 years. So it was a pretty extensive list. And then we, slowly switched over to the Facebook lead. We, dabbled in certain things simultaneously, kind of seeing where we got the best ROI. And then eventually just ended up, doing solid just online lead follow-up, for a majority of our business. But been doing that for a total of about 2 years. From what people say, that I'm doing good or that this or that, but like, I don't know of anybody else to personally compare myself to, because I don't know somebody else who does. I mean, because I know there's ISAs, but yeah. I like online lead follow-up. You know what I mean? That's to me the bread and butter. I know the numbers, I know the outcome, I know the flow, the process. I know how and where and when to find my lane and kind of, proceed down that path. So to me, I just haven't found anybody else who's done that, but I'm always looking, I always love to mastermind, converse, talk, pick brains, strategize with people that are of, doing the similar things. So nah, man, but I'll take that. So I like your title better. I like your title better.
Yeah. The best in the business for sure. No. So, okay, cool. So going on your third year, let's talk about when you first started, right? Because leads are not the issue. And we talk about that. Joshua talks about that. Leads are not an issue. It's real estate agents follow-up. So that could be either lack of follow-up or just not knowing when to call, how to call, what to say, stuff like that. So let's dive deep on that. How did the journey of the last 2 years look for you?
Right. So it's kind of like a little bit of what you said just right now. So when I first started, to me, my mentality was, I'm just going to call people. Okay. You know what I mean? Not knowing that there was statistics behind it, a flow and a rhythm to it, that there was, because I mean, everybody has their own way and there's no right or wrong, but not knowing that there could be a way and kind of figuring all that out. So most definitely the first year was the learning curve, right? When I came out the gate, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't doing just online leads. It was online leads because he was always still generating those, but it was a lot of past clients or old leads. I was tackling expires and FISBOs. I was circle prospecting. I knew that the phones was going to be where I was going to spend a majority of my day or my time. So I wanted to dabble in everything so that way I at least had some knowledge, experience, be able to go ahead and, figure out which one I like best, kind of get the process to flow down in each one. And then in doing so, we started realizing, because even when I first jumped in, it was nothing like it is now. Like now I time block when I'm going to prospect. I have more of a consistent flow of the pass off to my agents, to my lenders, to the way that I handle my business or how we all handle business as a whole or a team. None of that shit was like that when we first started. It was just literally my boss was like, yo, here's some list of some agents who might work. Here's the passwords of my database. Have a great day. My office is right here. Yeah, my office is right here. Holler if you need anything. And I was like, all right, cool. Fortunately, my first call, because he was going to shadow me for a bit, first call, first pop, set an appointment. He's like, well, fuck. He's like, you got this, bro. So, yeah. And I was like, oh, man. So to me, being naive and, so inexperienced, I was like, oh, man, this is going to be easy. I'm going to slay it. Was not the case. Fucking
hit you. Real quick, right?
Real quick. Yeah. So realized that it wasn't going to be like that. Didn't know that there was numbers, structure. So he's always, he was, is, and forever will be a mentor of mine, but he kind of put me to the game, to the fact where he had me start time blocking my days. He had me start tracking my numbers, started figuring out like everything, whether it be, how many leads are you giving to this agent? How many applications are you giving to this lender? What is the average time frame? So within all that, started building our process and our, the follow-up, kind of being firsthand and front line, figuring out what was working best, what wasn't, everything down to the ads. I know me and you pick each other's brains like, hey, what about this, that, or this? Because we see fluctuations in that. So just being able to read the flow and the pattern. I'm to the point now to where once I see the ad run and I see people come in from that ad, I already know how the conversation is going to go, right? Now, so that's how it essentially started, right? So that's how I came out the gate. Now, I did start doing a lot of other things that I used to do back in the day, because before I did real estate for those 2 years at the time, I had worked at a call center for Chase Bank for about 10 years. So had a lot of phone experience underneath my belt, credit card, mortgages, auto, student loan. Just all over the spectrum, to where I was no stranger to the phones. So to me, it was just rearranging my flow, what I was calling for, the perspective behind it, right? So I went heavily and started watching all the podcasts, webinars, listening to all the books, finding any information that I can on people who were on the phone having success, getting different tactics, seeing the mindset behind it, why they were doing certain things that they were doing, to start helping elevate my game, trying to, get on a more personal and like, I guess you would say, being able to relate with the client and customer more, things like that. So the books that I started focusing on were more towards that. I started recording myself pretty heavily. I had 2 phones, or I had like an iPad, and at first I was recording myself, and then I hated watching myself make those damn calls. So I just hit record, turned it over, so that way I could, listen to it and just auditorily go back and pick it apart, see where I was getting stuck, what the main objections were, how to overcome that. And then to me, that was like one of the best education courses, because I'm like, man, you stopped at that, or you ended the call because of that, and not even knowing that whoever's asking the questions is controlling the conversation. So just always keep asking questions. The conversation will naturally continue to progress and flow. So learning shit like that, Like I didn't even know that. So once I started realizing those tips and tricks, or methodology behind it, and then implementing, my personal, tips or tricks or hacks or whatever you like to call it. Just started finding my flow and rhythm, and here we are 2 years later and still going strong.
That's it. Absolutely. So, in a lot of individuals that reach out to me in Optimized Real Estate, they ask, what's your scripts? What's your follow-up? What's that? And that's where we're going to dive deep. And that's the goal here is to really get some implementation and over your experience, see how literally go through the whole follow-up process, right? So that you talk about the flow and the rhythm. So the flow and the rhythm, obviously, and you and I have had conversations about this, and it changes from depending on the type of call. But the flow and rhythm of the follow-up process is the same, essentially, right? It's the same.
Yep.
Right? Exactly. So what does that? Let's start from the beginning. A new lead comes in. What does that look like?
All right, cool. I want to kind of unpack just that little first part real quick, right? So
absolutely.
You mentioned scripts, right? So our mentor, Josh, right? He has his boot camp that he does. And so I was able to fortunately be a part of that and get the same scripts that a lot of people were privy to, right?
Yep.
But it's just like anything else. He gets them from other sources, or he, does other coachings or trainings, and it becomes a melting pot of this, that, and the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is, since I already knew he was a source of knowledge and just a resource to, I know that he's going out looking at other people's products. He's always a student of the game. You know what I mean? He's always seeing what's out there, what their stuff's like. So he was always getting it. So he had everything there. So I'd be like, oh, you know what? I like this from this. I like this from this. And I like this from this. And then literally and this is a stupid hack, but I would get my phone and send myself an email. So that way it sounded in my tone the way I would want it. So, hey guys, what's going on? Armando Gomez. And I mean, if you ever think that I deviated from it, watch any of my videos. Whether it be me working through the leads and I'm trying to help in a coaching capacity, or whether it be me as one of the faces on our real estate team and I'm making a video for the possible, client or consumer. Hey guys, what's going on? Armando Gomez. Like, I stick to the same flow, or once something works, I stick to it and I don't change it, but then I come up with a little variation. So how I did that was, I'm like, oh, I like this. So I'd read it into the phone or say it into the phone. It would start building my own script. Then what I was doing is I would start communicating or having those conversations with the clients, and they'd be like, oh, I need to tweak this, or I need to change that. But I heard it when I was going back and listening, right? So it was more listening to it, picking myself apart, and then coming up with my own script. Now, a script is, to me, it's like a speed limit. It's more of like a guideline. Like, do something to kind of stay within, but do your own thing, man. Like, don't be afraid to, like, if I'm talking to a Southerner or somebody from the South, I'm adding some more y'alls. You know what I mean? Like, hey, y'all, what's going on, man? Hey, okay, no, I hear you. Just if I'm talking to somebody who's a little bit more, I'm not going to say street, but like maybe urban, a little bit younger. Hey, bro, what's going on, man? And just so that there's a little bit more of a personal feel behind it. They don't think that it's scripted, because they can tell when you're calling off a script, or when you're like robotic, or especially if you haven't said it enough. So when you record it, that's a good way to have it. But then before I started calling, I would rehearse it or say it to myself a couple times, so that way I had that flow of that, and I knew what it was going to say. And then what I did that is, because most people think that it's just calling. Nah, there's a voicemail script, there's text scripts, there's a script if they wanted me with an appointment, or if they wanted me for an appointment, if they don't, if they want to speak to a lender, if they don't. So there's different variations. So it's like when you go back, you can be like, okay, if they say this, here's what I can say, and this is how it's going to flow. If they say this, I'm going to have this. And then after that, it's just repetition. You're saying the same shit to just a different name, right? Like, to me, I talk to maybe about 4 to 6 different personality types or clients. But once I start getting that conversation going, within about 2 to 3 minutes, I'm like, I've spoken to you before. I know how this is going to go. And then it's just easier to kind of gauge them and kind of know how it's going to go. Some people are more like analytical. So they want the facts, the statistics, the data, you know what I mean? The information to support their decision. Some are more emotional based. Some of them haven't even thought about it and need to be educated. So it's kind of figuring out where they're at, what their goals are, and then just, again, picking your lane and going from there. You know what I mean? So that is what I would say about the scripts, right? Is, to me, that was the best way to kind of formulate that, to kind of create those, is to just record it, kind of voice speak it, so that way when I'm saying it, I'm not reading somebody else's and trying to sound all proper or something that I'm not, but more authentic. You know what I mean?
Yep, and that's what what I talk about all the time when individuals bring this up. It's like the script. Like I can give you a script, but you need to make it your own, right? You need.
Oh yeah.
I always talk about like follow-up emails, for example, like and drip campaigns. Yeah, you could take Joshua's, and that's in perfect storm because that's what I use, and that's what you use as the CRMs, and you can take those and use those. But guess what? Until you personalize them, you're not going to have the greatest. You'll have results. You'll get some leads. Like there's good emails in there.
Right.
Make it your own. Like make it.
Oh, for sure.
And that's what the script needs to be as well. Take the time to sit down and write out your script. And like you said, and I like what you said. I've never done that before. I've just gone on and I like to say things that I'm comfortable saying, but I've never recorded myself saying them. So I really don't know how I sound, right? But it could be, like you said, writing it down and then getting it to the point where you're hearing yourself and you're comfortable in your own skin and what you're saying. Because in the end, if you're trying to be somebody you're not, it's never going to work.
Oh yeah,
right.
So
if
one of the best.
Go ahead.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Like you said, you took Joshua's and molded it, and he molded other people's into his, and then you molded his and other people's into your own.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
but
yeah.
in the end, it's your own. Like you are working that script. You are owning that script. That's what you're doing. So.
Yep. I heard it from Tim Grover. He had said that you attract the wrong people because you're not being your true self. Once you start being your true self, you'll attract the right people, the right clients, the right business partners, whatever that looks like. And then you won't have to worry about, oh man, this guy's an asshole. Well, he's an asshole because you weren't being your true self, and that's what you were attracting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you always be your true self, you're always going to attract the right people. And I've always tried to stay as true to who I am, or because I don't have like, when people say the script, I think I talk so improper. I mumble a lot. I stammer. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the most articulate guy. It's just that I know the questions to ask. I know the pattern, and I've done it enough to where it just helps kind of compensate for that. So then it's just, flows the conversation.
Yeah. And I love what you say, because, I'm a big follower of Tim Grover and have read and done a lot of things that he's done. And it's he absolutely does that. And I try to teach people too, like when you're running Facebook ads, like who do you want to do business with? It's the same thing in your ads. Like if you're trying to target everybody, then you're going to do, to a certain extent, like you can still target everybody and still,
for sure,
you pick them based off of your follow-up and who you want to work with. But some agents that I run ads for, they are very specific on who they want to work with, and that's it. They'll pay $20 per lead if that's the case, and they know that they can dial in who it is that they want to, and it's we call it their ideal client. Same thing with you, like. Yep. This is who you want to do business with. You're attracting the people that you want to work with. So
for me, I've always found that the price per lead doesn't matter if you're converting those leads, right?
100%. Absolutely.
Because to me, people are like, oh, I want $1 lead. Yeah, of course, I would love to be able to give $1, get back multiple thousands. Yeah. But realistically, if I had to give $100 to get back those multiple thousands, I'm going to do that shit too, especially if I know I was going to close and convert it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to me, that's what it's in how you follow up and how to do that. And then same thing, like, each client or avatar, right? Each ideal avatar, you might have to handle or follow up a little bit differently, right? So like, for example, let's just say if it's in a higher price point, they might be a little bit more of an educated consumer. They might have, CPAs, attorneys, accountants, people who are like, nah, man, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. This is it. And this is that. So where it's like, they're just a little bit more business savvy. They've probably done it a time or two, you know what I mean? So where it's like, you might have to follow up, handle those, or talk to them about different things than what you would somebody who's buying a $200,000 or $300 or $100,000 property. You know what I mean? But because then I know that you would ask, like, so what does it look like when I get a new lead, right? That was the question that you would ask with that, though, with the scripts. Mm-hmm. So one, I do leave it on Josh's drips, right? To me, those are fucking brilliant. Like, he's done it. He's been in the game so long that it's random shit that, like, I never would have thought about. Like, hey, things to consider with when you're buying your home, like your auto payment, your insurance, like all this stuff, to where I get engagement off of it, right? But then it's, what do you do when you get that engagement? So what I teach and coach people is, that's what we want, is the engagement. Some of the best tips or scripts that I have are short little, like 3 or 4 letter words. And I know people who have tremendous success off of that. I think me and you kind of went over a couple of those too. It's just like all we want is the engagement, because then from there we know what to do. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Once I get the engagement, it goes from there. So it's like, once I get a lead, the ideal follow-up is that you come into our site, and I'm a client of Perfect Storm. That's my main CRM. Fluent in multiple, but that's to me just, and I have no affiliation with that, you know what I mean? But it's just by far the best, the most simplistic to use, the most effective, and the most efficient, bar none. So the drip so once you come into the site, you get an auto text that's scripted, like, thank you for checking out the site, but it also has a video with it. So it's me, hey, thank you for stopping by our website. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you want to see in person, please shoot me a text or give me a call anytime. We're here for you. You get that. You get an automated email. And then normally within 5 minutes, you get a call from me, right? Okay. So that's all within the first 5 minutes. Now, hopefully let me stop there. So once that happens, the drip will automatically populate it every other day for the first 14 days for me to call. Now, it says call. And when people ask me, like, how many dials do you do? I feel like that's another misleading question, right? Because it's more of how many reach outs do you do a day? Like, to me, it's a reach out, because you could do a personal or individualized text, video text, email, whatever that looks like. So to me, I equate it to how many reach outs, right? So to me, it'll be 14 reach outs 14 reach outs within the first 2 weeks, right? So it comes up every other day. And normally, or hopefully within those 14 days, we have that conversation. Now, within that conversation, if you're asking the right questions, and I mean, because another thing that I want to bring out too is, like, people all the time think that every lead that I call or every number that I call, they just want to buy. You know what I mean? Like, oh, dude, your leads are, whatever. But I'm like, no, dude, do you know how many numbers I had to call before I even got an answer? Do you know how many conversations I had before I had to set that appointment? Like, it's all the numbers game, right? So it's knowing those numbers beforehand. That's what helped me too mentally. But so it's knowing those numbers, because hopefully I get them on the phone within those first 14 days. But if not, if I do, I figure out where they're at on the spectrum, right? When I mean that, I mean their timeline, what that's looking like, what brought them to the site, what they're looking for, what their goals are, what their current living situation is, kind of go over all that. So that way I could figure out my best follow-up and then go ahead and go from there. If I don't reach.
And I love, and I'm sorry to cut you off, and I love that, because that's where a lot of people have that disconnect. They try to get on these calls and they try to sell them right away. These people don't know who the hell you are. They're not, most of them are not even ready to buy right now anyways.
6.7 months out.
There you go, right? You're talking, so 6.7 months, and that's proven data.
Proven data. Right? And that's from when they're wanting to start communication with you.
Yeah.
They're starting the process. So to me, what I coach on is, if you can shorten that time frame and get them in touch with the lender and agent, set them up on a personalized MLS search, show them a property, send over a CMA, something shorter than that, that's already a small win. That's a win. Take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I was calling everybody and hitting it out the park every time, I'd shit. You know what I mean? You see the leads, you know what I mean? You generate them for me. Yeah. So it's like, I'd be killing it, but it doesn't work that way. I mean, not a lot of the time, but you have to factor, especially for mine, right? I know that if I got on a day 30 new leads, I know 10 of them off the bat, I'm not going to be able to fuck with. In the fact that some of them are agents. Our boss is a pretty big name in the community, so people are always coming through the sites, especially agents. Got to get rid of those. Some of them don't have a number. It's now the way it's set up, my man. It's very few and far between, but we still get some with no numbers. That's out. Some of them are disconnected, bad numbers. Those are out. You know what I mean? So realistically, if I got 30 new leads, I'm looking at probably about 20. You know what I mean? So then it's knowing that, right? So it's knowing that not everybody. So now I got 20. Out of those 20, I'm leaving so probably out of those, 7 or 8 I'll get in communication with before that 14th day, to where I can figure out where they're at. The rest, I do leave them on that drip, because at some point, whether it be that 21st day follow-up or they get a text through the site later, I get that engagement. You know what I mean? And by the time I call them within, I think I was telling you this the other day, by the 3rd to 4th, 21st day follow-up, I get in touch with them. some way, shape, or form, I get in touch with them, because by that point, they don't see my number coming up every other day anymore. And they're like, but then it's enough to where they're like, fuck, who was this again?
It looks familiar.
Yeah, I'm gonna, curiosity kills, bro. And they always answer it. That's why, like, I leave the way that I send my messages or things like that. I make it to where it's kind of curiosity will get the better of you and you respond. You know what I mean? So I play off that. I know that that's why people will be like, when you call them, hi, who is this? Real estate? Click. They just want to know who it was. You know what I mean? But when they hear real estate, to them, they don't need anything like that. So that's why I don't even most of the time say real estate when I'm calling. You know what I mean? Because I want to seem like we're all chums from back in the day and you want to stay on the phone. You know what I mean? So knowing that, like knowing those numbers is what helps fuel me. Knowing that at some point I will get it. Most people get burnt out not knowing that they're going to get told no 5 times before they get that yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to answer each first time or every time that you call for the first time they're going to answer. No, sometimes you'll call 6 times, finally speak to them, get the no, maybe 2, hang up. Then you have to call for another 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 months, whatever that looks like. Then they finally answer again. No, keeps going, you know what I mean? But then same thing, because I used to look at it back in the day when our leads were a lot more minimal and it was easier for me to do it too. That shit's tried and true. It's normally about the 5th or 6th no before they're like, all right, my dude, all right, let's meet, or let's do this, or let's do something. And even from there, that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to close. That's when they'll want to speak to a lender or maybe go ahead and talk to an agent or kind of start the process. But then how many times do we meet with a client and they're 3, 6, 9, 12 months out? So that's when the nurture and follow-up becomes that much more important. And then you're no longer switching, or you're no longer calling with the intent like, hey, how can we help? What can we do? It's, hey, we know where we're at. How's the plan going? How's the credit repair coming along? How's this, that, and the other? So that way you're staying top of mind. You're showing commitment and follow-up. That way, once it comes time for them to be ready, I mean, they're gold. I mean, they're just gold. They're good to go. You've already invested that much time, energy, and effort that they feel that much loyal that our clients are. I mean, I have a lot of clients like in my personal Facebook that we haven't even done a deal with, that they're always liking, posting, sharing, commenting, sending us referrals just because of how much knowledge, because I'm checking in with them, because everybody else who spoke to them, oh, you need credit repair? Well, I'll follow up with you in a year. To me, I'm like, shit, hey, how can we help? If you're committed and you're willing to put in the work, I'm willing to help get you there. What can we do? How can we work together? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And just getting their motivation, their time frame. And I did a call with Philip, and he's in your market as well. So he's closed 10 deals since January just from Facebook alone as well this year. And his thing was service them, don't sell them, right? His whole thing is like, and his is the same thing. It takes 8 to 9 touches before he even gets them to respond to something. Mm-hmm. Right.
And I'm sure that's accurate if you include the drip emails, auto text, because even if I'm not calling them that day, within those first 2 weeks, the site's still sending them an auto text here or there. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So yeah, man.
You're getting them on. So new lead comes in. You're obviously reaching out to them in the first 5 minutes. The drip campaigns come on. So we know that you're touching them 15 times in the first 2 weeks, and then every 21 days after that, correct? If you have not gotten in contact.
Yeah, if I have not gotten in touch with them, if I do, right? I always
let's go to the not. So how does that look up? So we'll go this route, and then we'll go, if you have contacted them, what does that look like? Right? So you have not contacted them after the first 15. I call mine 15 days of pain. It's 18 touches in the first 18 reach out, same thing, touches in the first 15 days. Nice. Right? So that's emails, texts, calls. Right? Very similar to Josh's. We just broke it down a little bit different. So you have that 2 week period goes on. Are you doing calls every 21 days? So or how does that look? And what does that flow look like from there on? Like, what does that call look like?
So what I always do and what I'll teach is always do 2 on the 21-day mark. Always do 2. So I do call. Sometimes I'll leave a message. Sometimes I won't. Okay. Sometimes I'll send a video text with it. Sometimes I'll send a text. If I've noticed that in the past, they've maybe responded to like the site text or something like, who is this? But then they don't respond. Maybe I'll lead off with the text because I know that they've already texted that way. You know what I mean? Or communicated that way, I should say. So I'll try that way. So, but then I'm always switching it up. So let's just say on this 21 day, I call, leave you a voicemail, and then I shoot you this month's current market update, which is always still, it always has a call to action like, hey, reach out, here's my information. So it's, so to me it's 2, right? But then the next time I call or the next time I see it, they haven't engaged, I'll go ahead and call them. Maybe I won't leave them a voicemail, but then I'll shoot them a text. You know what I mean? Or sometimes I'll if I saw that maybe I look on the site and they were recently checking out a property, I'll shoot hey, anything would you like to go see, email, and customize that with the address that they were looking at. So I was like, oh shit, I remember this property. You know what I mean? So it all depends, but whatever you do too, right? Like to me, it's a whole 3 weeks to where I don't want to have to go that long or that distance without, like, for example, what if I called and the line was busy, but that was a good number and they could have gotten a text still? Like, I don't want to have to wait. Like, I'm trying to speed that shit up. So I'm sending out 2. So to me, that's 2. And I'll do that religiously. Like when people ask me like, what is different or how can we do it? Right. One of the only things that I tell people is like, I live and die by that drip. Like if it comes up, I work it. And trust me, there's some days where, cause I try to get around 200 reach outs a day. And that's not including my current clients, the QC for my agents, because they're still reaching out to me still, right? So like, let's just say I call a client. I don't consider that a reach out. They're already a client. They're already an escrow. They're whatever, right? So, but some people don't know that. They'll consider that a reach out or an attempt or whatever. So I minimize those or I exclude those. But then let's just say I call, hey, Brett, trying to do a follow-up, whatever. But then you call me back later and we're having another 15, 20-minute call. Like that shit kind of skews things a bit or kind of whatever. But I never want anybody to feel like they don't get superior service with us. You know what I mean? Yeah. So sometimes when I do a quick follow-up, that's why I try to text them at that point because the agents are the shit and they're always doing their thing. The lenders that we work with, same thing. They're the shit. They're working on their end. The last thing that they need is a third person, chirping in their ear. But I want them to know, hey, I'm still here. I'm still an advocate and a resource for you. And I just didn't want you to forget about me, especially because I'm going to be the one doing the past client follow-up. So they just love that little extra, attention. But because sometimes we become friends or, can get on that level, I shoot a quick text because it's easier just to have a quick chat over text versus 20 minutes, 15 minutes away on a call on someone who's already a client or business.
Correct. Yeah.
So
you're reaching, and you mentioned this. So you're reaching anytime you have some sort of conversation with somebody. Is that your preferred method of conversation moving forward? Like if you're going forward and you're like making these calls and reach outs and somebody doesn't answer any call, text, but they answer email all the time, are you only emailing them from them? Okay, so you're going.
You get everything. Okay. Anything that I do, right? Because I do have a lot. As a matter of fact, I have more texts or I ultimately want that conversation, but first I have to get the engagement. If I have to get the engagement by shooting a quick couple texts and kind of warming them up that way or shoot an email back and forth over the span of a week before they feel comfortable, cool. But I never lose focus of that. My main objective is to have the conversation with them to sell the value of the appointment and why they should meet. So I always do that. So if I'm chatting it with you or chopping it up with you via text, it's to like, okay, Brett, that sounds good. Sounds like we're ready to move forward. We could definitely help you. When would be a good time for us to go ahead and have a quick 5-minute conversation so we can knock everything out further, go over the game plan? They always tell me the good time. And a lot of the time too is like, so one of the things that I always teach is even if it's kind of iffy, you kind of got to read the room, but I'll straight ask for the appointment. Cool. So, hey, I always ask, always ask. Every conversation, always ask. And it doesn't mean it needs to be a hard ask, but it could be, you just need to ask, right? So to me, it's like, okay, sounds good. Sounds like we want to go ahead and move forward. When would be a good day and time for you to meet with one of our agents and our lenders to go ahead and get the process started? Start there, because that's what I want. If they didn't want to do that, I'm like, okay, no worries. We can go ahead and do it over the phone. When's a good time for us to talk? You know what I mean? But then I at least bring it to the conversation because call me overconfident or whatnot. But I feel like if I get you on the phone and you're somewhat interested and serious, we're getting the appointment. Like you're going to meet with one of us. It's just getting you on the phone to actually do that. And you could always, like, there's no tonality, there's no personality in a text. Even if you're dropping some fucking emojis, like it could still be misconstrued to where I like to get them on the phone, even if it's just to confirm the appointment. So I always try to bring it to the phone just to do that. But if I can get away with setting the appointment via text, which I do pretty often, I'm going to do that. But if not, it's always to have, and especially to start, you want to have that engagement to be able to go ahead and lead to the verbal conversation or get them to the phone. So that way you could then lock down that appointment.
Okay.
Sometimes
So
they might not have wanted to express or say or go over certain things that could be a real key indicator when you talk to them. You know what I mean? So it's like, I always want to get them on the phone and then do that. So I always have it with the intention of, we're doing this dialogue to get verbally or to, speak verbally to then get the appointment. And anytime I speak to you, because going back to the recording shit, right? Anytime I've ever had an agent that I work with do it, when I used to do it to myself, whenever I hear the biggest thing that I hear is, even if it's a great conversation, if it was a short conversation, if it was whatever, people don't ask. And to me, when people are like, it's a great conversation, I had a great conversation, I'm like, yeah, but you might as well have not said shit. Like, you said a whole lot of nothing. Like, I get it. Like, I'm glad you guys had a great conversation, but is that what your intention was for you calling them, was to have a great conversation? No. You wanted to have a great conversation that prospered to something, right? So hopefully it's the appointment. If it wasn't the appointment, hopefully you're getting them in touch with the lender, you're getting a timeline, you're getting their motives, your situation, things like that. So that way you know how to properly follow up with them and go from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's funny because you and I, and it's funny you brought this up because you and I had a conversation about my sales calls with Optimized Real Estate, and I was, I was like, hey, what can I do to better this? And he's like, you're like, be honest. Are you asking for the business? Yeah. Are you asking for the business? I'm like, nah. He's like, well, that's why you suck. No, no, it wasn't. No, you weren't. But that was my reason, right? That's the reason for not having not being able to close at a better rate that I am. So yeah. So okay. So the whole goal is for the whole 21 days. Every drip is to get them on the phone so that you can obviously build that value and sell that value of why they should set an appointment with you. Now, in those 21-day follow-ups, it's obviously every 21 days. You're only taking them off of that drip and putting them to another drip campaign, call task campaign based off of actually getting them on the phone and knowing what their time frame is, correct?
Correct. And not even 100% then, right? So let's just say that I speak to you and you're like, hey, I'm not interested, just kind of looking right now. I go through my whole spiel, ask all the proper questions, still can't get a good true read for you. I'll leave you on that unknown time frame because I still want you to come up those same time frames. But what I'll do is maybe I'll turn off the site text so that way you're not getting hit up because you already told me that and I don't want to seem like, incompetent, that I'm just still blasting you after you told me that you weren't going to be ready then. So I'll turn off the site text. I'll just clear the task for those, next 14 days, but then I'll leave it on the 21-day follow-ups. That way, hey, I know you mentioned a couple months ago, whatever that looks like, that you weren't interested. Just doing a quick follow-up. Want to see, what we can currently do for you then, or hey, just saw you were back on the site, checking out some properties. Anything specific you would like us to send you? Want us to change or update your search? Anything you want to go see? So you know what I mean? Like, I'm always finding that reason, but it's like, to me, I don't feel like that's too close, right? Because what'll happen is by that time frame, they're either going to say, you know what, my man, it's really because I'm going through a divorce. It's pretty nasty. It's not going to get drawn. Then you finally get the true objection and timeline so that when you follow up, or it's like, hey, you know what? If you're going to continue to use my site, use it as much as you like. But because you do so, I at least am going to call you every 21 days.
And let them know.
Yeah. So I just keep following it up. And then it's different because people say, like, one, they always feel like, well, isn't this person this and doing that? I always tell them, stop. That's your personal feelings and thoughts. Get that shit out of here. Because all it's going to do is cause these preconceived notions that, oh, this person's not going to like this, or I'm coming off as a bug, or it's whatever. No, I always call, always, with something to help or to add value or to assist. And I've never had anybody yet in my 2 years and change doing this be like, bro, quit calling and trying to help me, man. Or you're an asshole for trying to offer me this information and check up on me, bro. How dare you? No, everybody always loves the, hey, brother, I appreciate you checking in. Still nothing yet, my man. Hey, no worries. I'm going to send you this market update just so that way you have a little bit more information about the market, help you with any decisions. Again, this is my cell phone. Text or call me if you need anything. If not, we'll check in on you periodically. Okay, perfect. That's open-ended. Like, I could check in on you whenever I want, but I'm letting you know, yeah, I'm just going to check in on you, see what we can do. Okay, perfect. I'm planting that seed, but then the next time, hey, Brad, my man, I know last time we spoke, you mentioned there wasn't anything we could do for you. Just doing a quick follow-up as I said I would. Just want to see if we can help you. Anything we can currently do for you. And then from there, like, that's when it takes those repetitions before it's like, okay, here's where we're really at, or here's what people are, or what their true objection is, or what they're waiting on or hoping to accomplish, and just continue to go from there. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely love it. So obviously leading with contribution. So
Always.
now, obviously the whole goal is get them on the phone, right? So it's new lead comes in, first 5 minutes, boom, all that happens. Getting them on the phone is the objective. I don't care if it's your text message them, your message them on Facebook, whatever it is. The whole goal is to make that conversation go in a way that you can get them on the phone, right? So that you can then set the appointment on the phone. Now, again, if somebody wants to set an appointment over text, let's do it, right? Let's set that. But there's no emotional attachment there either. So be ready for them to to be a no call, no show on you and not show up.
Well, so that's the thing. I still, sorry to interrupt. I still vet them. Like, I still am like, okay, so yeah, we can go ahead and meet. Have you already spoken with the lender? Are you paying cash? Like, I'm asking the same questions because I don't want to just send my agent on a weak appointment. You know what I mean? It's not a solid appointment. I want them to know and go and show up. I want either my lenders or my agents, when they get involved, to know why they're meeting, what their situation is, and have everything. So that way they just read the notes and they're like, okay, hey, Brett, saw that you were doing this and that. You live here and you wanted a CMA, and we need to go ahead and have a lender there so that way you can see how much you need to put down. So that way we know what your current purchase price is going to be. So that way you can keep it in line with your payment. I'm going to bring over CMA. Like, they just have it to where they're like, oh, yes. They're not getting peppered with the same bullshit questions that they were just asked. They just know, like, hey, I'm going to get you in touch with so-and-so, and they're going to take care of you. And then so-and-so calls them, and they're like, hey, I'm here to take care of you. Here's what we're going to do. You know what I mean?
They already know, yeah. So to get them on the phone, set the appointment. So you just talked about it, keeping notes. And I feel like a lot of people fail at this. A lot of realtors fail at this, and this was key for me in my business, was knowing what our last conversations were. And I know you're very good at it because I know for a fact Chase was making you do that on all the calls, or they were recording them and somebody was transcribing them. So anytime you called somebody, you already knew what somebody else said.
Yep.
Right? Always. I know those big companies are doing that.
In Chase, if you had a bad call, right? And I mean a bad call because Chase is one of the most conservative banks, period, right? They always side on the side of caution versus like, hey, we're not even going to, we're deciding over here. They would, within the same day, that call would be listened to, and they normally did it in the morning. They would have people there by the afternoon before you went to lunch and were like, hey, you got to leave the building. You're terminated. Like, done. Wow. So you had to be legit when you were on the phone, all in every way, every time. And me, I was like, somebody's going to listen to this call. And that's how I just approached every call. Like, somebody's going to listen. So to me, that's why it was so easy to transition for me to record my shit. Cause I was like, who's monitoring me? Like, who's regulating this shit? Like, how? Nobody? Man, I need to do this. You know what I mean? So I started doing it myself. But so yeah, you need to be compliant. And I feel like on anything, I don't care what your actual, background is or what it is, because everybody could be taught something, right? Like, everybody can learn something new, right? It's just same thing, repetition until it becomes a habit. To me, and I can get why it's hard, right? Because I'm talking from somebody who, when they're most of the time dialing, I'm at my desk or I'm in front of my computer, so it's a lot easier for me. Now, I'm not going to just use that as I know that it's easy that way, right? But I am pretty active with my family. I have me and my girlfriend like to, she's an agent. She's one of my agents. So there's times where she's out showing late. And she comes home and we're just going to go out to a quick dinner. We're going to do whatever. So it's like, I always make time for her. You know what I mean? So it's like the timing, how do I want to say it? It's like, I know, I'm trying to think about the best way to word it.
You're good.
I know that I have a certain time and how I want to manage it and allocate it, right? So I never want to deviate from business, but I do a lot of personal things, right? So if I'm out, regardless of what it is, I don't let that be an excuse as to why I can't notate an account. So if I get a call, fortunately, Perfect Storm, easy as shit to use from the smartphone, but what CRM isn't these days, right? You should be able to pull up any CRM from your phone and do it. If you don't want to do it, it's because you're lazy, straight up. Like, there's no other reason.
Yep.
I'll even do it one more, right? I like to go to the bar and have some drinks. I have no problem even being slightly inebriated, having a conversation with a client, because I've done it so much that I know I'm going to do it. But that once I get off the phone, I know that I can send me a quick text or an email to myself like, hey, spoke to Brett, came through the site off of 123 King Street, 3 months out, already spoken to a lender, knows what he needs to work on in his credit. Da, da, da. Like I'm voice texting, like if it was a script, and then I text it to myself, and then I'll send right behind it. I look at my phone and I'm like, okay, was that number? Copy, send that number, so that way I know, even if I can't do it right then, get that number and put in that note. You know what I mean? Because I hear so many times, because let's just say that you had a conversation, and whether it be good or bad, imagine if that drip went off and you didn't go back and you didn't take them off the drip, and you had a great conversation with them, and the next day they get a text from you, hey, just wanted to do a quick check-in on you, see how we can help.
We just spoke yesterday.
Yeah, we just spoke yesterday. What the hell? So to me, because of how many, and trust me, I speak from experience. I'm like, oh my God, I seem like such an idiot. Like, so I started figuring out the ways to kind of plug and play and kind of incorporate that. But it's like, to me, there is no reason why you can't shoot yourself a video or a quick text or an email or whatever. Write it down on a napkin. Like, there's always pen and piece of paper to where you can't write it down, write the number, and then go back and do it. So when I tell the agents or our lenders, because I was just speaking to one of our lenders the other day, and I mean, she's awesome. Like, she's legit probably one of, if not the best lenders to date that we've worked with, right? But she's like, the only thing I'm having a hard time with is this. And I'm like, what I do is, because now I've done it enough and it's always the same thing, like I'll shoot myself that same message real quick, but then I set an alarm. Hey Siri, set an alarm for whatever time I know I'm going to be home or be able to get to it. And then the alarm title, I'm like, hey, set an alarm for 8 p.m., 623-703-7445. So then at whatever time I set that alarm, that number comes up. I'm like, oh shit, I got to go back and put in that note. Go to Perfect Storm, pull it up, copy and paste that note, and then enter it right in, right? So that way I could do everything I need to do. Think about how hard it is to get somebody on the phone, to get that engagement and have the conversation. Why would you let one go to waste? You know what I mean? So regardless of whether it be personal, if you're on a mountain and you're isolated, that's what I was trying to get to earlier. It's like, it doesn't matter. There is no excuse. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You should be able to do it. And if not, don't take that call then. You know what I mean? Just wait. Absolutely. Just wait. Let it go to voicemail. Like, it's not going to be the end all say all. Call them back. But so we all set an alarm. We all have like these little time hacks that we do to kind of help us with that, because to me, and that's what I would tell people too, is like, I know that it can be different for an agent, right? Like, you could be at a showing, you could be at a walkthrough, you could be whatever that looks like, to where it's hard to do that. But if you come up with the same, like, hey, if I get an inbound call, this is my process and procedure. Then anytime you do it, it just becomes second nature. You know what I mean? So it's like very rare. I've since that ever has happened, I've never missed anything. Fortunately, like, knock on wood, it just shit doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So it's because of how I live and die in my CRM, and it always boggles my mind how people don't. And if you don't, okay, cool. But then how are you tracking? Like, whether it be your current clients, past clients, escrows, all that. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, I try to help get them up on that, because that's only going to be another tool in your arsenal. To me, I call my CRM my assistant. Like, who doesn't love to have an assistant? Like, I love having assistants. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, this just helps me do my job better. When I call, I'm like, and I notate everything. Like, spoke with Brett on his way to the vet. Dog was sick. Going to the Bahamas for 2 weeks. Follow up mid-July. Hey, Brett, how you doing, man? Hey, man, how's the dog? They're feeling better. Cool. How was the trip? Awesome. You enjoy yourself? How was the weather down there? And then they're like, they'll always, and like, you'll start seeing, everybody like, oh yeah, it's great, it's great, it's great. I'm sorry, who is this again? but just like anything else, everybody likes talking about themselves, right? So just what it does is, on our end, makes that like, they lower that wall, and it makes that conversation. And to me, I just transition into it quickly. Oh, okay, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry. You had mentioned you were going to save my number last time we spoke. This is Armando Gomez. I was just doing a quick follow-up. We had spoken about, and then I named everything that they had mentioned, that you were looking for a house in blank area, that you were looking for this price point, this, that, and the other. So that way I can go ahead and help them remember me, but then show that I'm paying attention and I care about them and what's going on. You know what I mean?
That's exactly. And that's the key, is getting them to know that you are there to help them, and that you're actually listening to them. Because most of the times when people get calls from salespersons and salespeople, it's all about how fast they can sell them something. And there's no anywhere in the conversation you could say something, and then they say something totally different than what you like. They never listen. And if you just listen and use and acknowledge what you're saying, what they are saying, you use that as power. Like that's fuel.
That's kind of why I piggyback too off of each lead source, right? And that's why I kind of handle it a little bit different. So I know that they're coming in from Facebook. Now I know that they could have, maybe they have real estate needs, but they, for whatever reason, like that picture or that ad, as opposed to what celebrity do you look like, or take this quiz. Like they just so happen to click on that one. So there's really no, to me, I call it like a virtual bar. Like you don't know, but just like anything else, right? Like, or a networking event. Because people all the time ask me like, well, how do you know? Or they're not looking for real estate. Yeah, nor is a lot of the people you're doing, but you start having a conversation, you build a rapport, you show value, you give, knowledge and information. And before you know it, whenever they're ready, guess who's going to be top of mind, or guess who's going to be there. So to me, that's what it is. It's figuring out, kind of like weeding them out, like where are you at, or what type of person am I? Because there's sometimes where people are like, dude, I am not interested. I am not interested. I am not interested. And I'm like, bro, I believe you. Shit. Like, hey, I'll check in on you here and there, because I don't want to, I'm not too hard up for leads, but I'd rather go take that time and go allocate it on people who are going to be ready that I can nurture, versus trying to convince somebody who's really not interested on why they need to go purchase a new house and how awesome these new down payment assistance programs are, right? Now, does that mean that I just abandon them and give up on them? Hell no. You're still getting followed up with. It's just maybe I space that gap a little bit more. So kind of going back to what you had said, or what we were talking about earlier, I'll leave it on that 21-day follow-up, but then I'll also set my own personal task. That way, if that test, the drip task either populates too soon or too later, I know that I want to follow up with them at this day and time regardless. You know what I mean? So that I always have those set. So normally a lot of my day when I come up, and like normally by 8 a.m. my time, all my leads have been updated, a perfect storm, to where whatever's going to be needed to work for that day shows up, to where I'm like, okay, I get an idea, to where I'm like, these people are, it's normally about 60-40. 40 is people that I've already spoken with, or on the spectrum, is just doing some type of follow-up, whether it be credit plan, are you interested yet? How's the search going? This, that, the other, right? We've already had communication. The other percent is people that I haven't spoken with yet that I need to get engagement with. And those are the ones that I try to put a little bit more time, energy, and effort on, right? If I see they're dancing around the site, maybe I will hit them again with all three, personal email, personal text, and then give them a quick call, something to where they're showing interest right then and there, that I want to try to play off of that. You know what I mean? And then furthermore, because it's off of Facebook and it could have been whoever, I feel like it's more of a lax place to kind of get a lead, to where that I feel like I could be more of myself, versus we do, or like our agents do, open houses, and I do call on those. That's probably like my second main lead source. Those ones I tend to be a little bit more professional, because they haven't ever met me yet. They don't, they stop by and solve them, and I know that they're all professional and what have you, but I want to still show that same professionalism. Not to say that I don't through a Facebook lead, but I want to see more, be on my more P's and Q's versus somebody who's a Facebook lead, until we establish our relationship and then go from there. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yep. Awesome. So you talked about taking notes, and a lot of agents don't utilize the CRM. Like the CRM is your assistant. I get a lot of agents that come to me like I don't know what to say, when to say it, how to say it. Well, most CRMs tell you, like they break it down. So like when we're generating leads, some of the agents are not used to getting as many leads as we're generating, and it's overwhelming at times. But the main purpose is because they're not going, like they don't go into the CRM and like have that time block of going to the CRM, and just the CRM tells you who to call today. Right. So whenever they do go into the CRM, they may be following up, but they're not going in and clearing out those tasks. And then they see 500 overdue tasks. It's like, oh shit, where am I at? Right. So utilizing that CRM, utilizing the notes, because now once you have that time frame, your calls are using what you said in that previous conversation. That's what starts the conversation. You've already done that. So we don't even need to go in super depth with that, because you just said it. Like if your dog's sick and you went to the Bahamas, right? Now that, hey, this is, you're not even gonna say her name. Hey, Armando, you went to how was your trip? Right? Just using what they said as the follow-up for them, and then moving them through the script, right? Trying to get them. Like if they're 3 months out, your call is going, I'm assuming, again, correct me if I'm wrong for your follow-up, but my call would be, to see if they're still online. Yeah, it would be, but it's still online. It's still online for that 3 months. If not, are they sooner? Are they later? Where are they at in that time frame that they gave you the last time, right?
Yeah. So whatever anybody says, as long as it's more than 2 months. So if somebody comes, as long as it's more than 2 months. So if they say, call me back in 2 months or more, I cut it in half.
Yep.
And so do I. In the middle, and that follow-up is, hey, I know last time we spoke, you mentioned, to call you back in 6 months. That would put us out 3 months from now. Just wanted to make sure that that's still the time frame. Cool. Anything we can currently do for you then, or currently do for you now? Anything you would like to see? Like, that's the ask. Like, anything we can currently do for you now? Would you like to get the process started? Anything like, so ask, like, start getting those out of the way. So that way, when they're like, a lot of the time, they don't mean what they say or say what they mean. They'll say, oh, you know what? Call me back in 3 months. We can talk then. 3 months, they might want to be in their house in 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's like asking those questions. So like, I continue to ask. It's not like, oh, call you back then. Okay, bye. Well, okay, perfect. Hey, is 3 months when you wanted to be in your new home? Or is that when you wanted to start the process? Whatever they say, right? Was there anything putting you off until then that we might be able to help you with? That right there alone, that question, is there anything putting things off or on hold that we could do for you now to kind of help get things going? You'd be surprised. They're like, well, yeah, like the shit that they say, I'm like, oh, dude, we could definitely help you out with that. Or you're waiting for a down payment. Did you know there's down payment assistance programs available? Yeah, well, no, but yeah, kind of, I guess. But that's what I kind of wanted to work towards. And I'm like, well, if you want to use the down payment assistance programs, then you wouldn't need your own down payment. Were you saving for something else? And then start getting into that. So that way we can go ahead and try to move up that time frame, get them started and going now, and then just start going from there. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Yeah, and I love it. So, all right. So you got their time frame. You followed up with them. When is it that you start pushing for the like setting the appointment?
From the jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is, because this is, and asking for the business or asking to set the appointment is where a lot of agents and even myself fail at, right? The worst they could say is no, or no, call me back in a couple months. Like with Facebook leads, in my experience, very few of them are going to curse you out. Most of them are super polite because guess what? They're not being called by everybody.
Yeah, they're not being called by everybody. And I mean, a lot of my best clients, best relationships that I have to this day started off with a fuck you.
Yep.
Like, fuck you. Click. And then, okay, hey, maybe something happened. I don't know what their situation was. I don't take it personal. I don't care.
Yeah.
On my call. Hey, bro, what's going on, man? Last time we spoke, you mentioned I couldn't do anything or assist you at that point in time. Just doing a quick follow-up. Wanted to see what we could do for you now. And then it just keeps it moving. Like, they don't remember that or telling somebody fuck off or whatever. Could have just been a bad day or a bad moment or whatever that looks like. So I don't take that personal, right? So, but what, because I want to kind of take a step back and go over what you had mentioned, right? Like in regards to schedule and time blocking, right? Mm-hmm. So one, just as like a helpful tip, because I get why people like, so for example, I treat my prospecting time like if it's an appointment. Like if I'm with a client, like you would keep a commitment to your client, to your wife, to your boss, to whatever. Why wouldn't you keep a commitment to yourself?
Yep.
And if I'm committed to getting or doing these prospecting or getting more leads or doing more business, and I know that it's going to come from the phones, why would I not time block that and then keep that commitment, right? So for me, one of the things that really helped me back in the day is when I was telling you that our mentor had put us on like time blocking, or it's called 90/60s is what it is. So I'll work just for 90 minutes straight dialing, like uninterrupted, no other tabs up. I'm just dialing. If it's a recent number that I just called and I still remember to where I just close it out, I'll pull it up. But if not, I don't even answer callbacks, because to me, when I would answer those, they would pick up and hang up, to where it's better for them to leave a message and then me call back and be like, God, why is this guy calling me again? Who is this? Because I just want the engagement, right? So I've done all that enough to know that that's what I want to do. But it's like, like to me, I time block it in those sessions, right? And that's all I do. So if I was an agent and I know that, and I'm going to add to it that be real with yourself, right? There's nothing worse than on any goal or on anything being like, I'm going to do this blank days a week, or I'm going to do this blank hours, and then you not doing it. and then you just carrying that mental baggage on your head, feeling like shit because you didn't do it, right? So and then like, oh damn, I didn't do this. Well, I'm gonna make it up this and that, and then it becomes just another distraction that you're having to think or piggyback on, to where it's like, nah, you know what I mean? So be real with yourself. If you know you could only prospect 1 day a week is better than no days a week. If you can prospect 3 days a week is better than the one. You know what I mean? It's better than none. So know your schedule, time block it, go put it on your calendar like if it was an appointment, until it becomes a habit or a pattern, until it's like, hey, every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm doing this, or I'm going to do it 2 hours a day, every day, right? Set that and put it on your calendar for the time being. And then that's it. Keep that commitment, that appointment to yourself. And then as long as you have that time, do only that. Do that, whatever, like if 90, 60s, because it did take me a while to get used to that. Yeah. But if you need to do 60, 30s, do 60 minutes of just uninterrupted dials, then stop at that hour, put it to the side, go answer your emails, the missed calls, check your Facebook, whatever you had to do business-wise, call the missed client that you just had, or the appraiser or the lender, whatever, and then get back in and do another 60, 90, whatever, right? Yeah. You'll be surprised on how quick you could truly burn through those leads if you don't have any other distractions or anything else up that's pulling away from your energy or time. Because all of a sudden you'll get off the phone, you leave a message, you hang up, and then, oh, Facebook this and that, and then you just down the rabbit hole. Like, no, if you're just dialing, you're going to continuously keep dialing. And then before you know it, you're going to be like, holy shit, I'm already done? Damn. And that's what was like eye-opening to me, is once he put me on that, I was like getting done with my day like 4 hours early. And I'm like, boss, I swear to God, I've been working this whole time, man. I don't know what the hell's happening. I don't know. He's like, nah, bro, you're just a lot more structured. So here's what we're going to do at this time now. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. But it opens up other time, and you'll be surprised on just how quickly that shit pays off in compounds. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then with that, just whatever it is, I tell people to do shit for 90 days. Like if you're going to call, like, so to me, I get one of the questions that I get asked is, okay, I do online leads and I'm, having some traction with that. Cool. But I'm going to get in expires and FSBOs. Okay, cool. Yeah. If that's what you want to do, cool. But to me, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for at least 90 days. Yeah. And I'm not even going to consider course correcting or switching my scripts, my flow, my process, the way I'm going about shit, my dial times, whatever, until 45 days, just to get a solid track record, something solid to be able to, nah, this isn't working or this isn't. That's where I started realizing that I could spend the same amount of time calling expires, FSBO, circle prospecting, online leads, but online leads, I'm getting this much business and everything else is, way smaller. So it's like, I'm going chips all on this one. So if you're going to do it for 90 days and fully commit, but know your numbers, right? Like you're going to have a lot more competitors, a lot more people saying the same scripts or things like that. It's just a smaller, lake or pond to fish out of, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's why it becomes tougher and shit. So that's when you really need to be more dialed in on your scripts, know what you're going to say, kind of what's going to differentiate you, things like that. So that way you can keep that moving. So to me, know your lead source and what you're calling, and then time block it accordingly, right? And that's with the drips as well. Like these drips, yes, they can be very overwhelming, especially if you have no true or real intention of being in there those times daily. But if you're committed to it, that shit it'll be gone. Fire. Yeah, it's fire. If you can't do it, set the drips on something that's more manageable for you. Yep. And then call when you can. Like reach out when you can, but reach out. Don't be afraid of it. Like there's no such thing as a bad lead. Like that client that you think is a bad lead in your database is also dancing around somebody else's site in their database, and they're loving that client.
Yeah, you know how many times it's funny you bring that, because you know how many times I've gotten emails or, oh, we already bought a home. I'm like, shit. Like,
see, to me, I've bought it too many times. That's why I don't do that anymore. Like it's so few and far between that I hear that I'm like, that's why I leave it on that every 21 days, because I'd rather be on the proactive side than ever hear, yeah, man, I just purchased.
I just bought a house.
Yeah. So,
that's lost money, right? That's lost money.
Yeah. So time blocking and scheduling is crucial. You know what I mean? So just be real with yourself though, and then disciplined enough to, like, to me, like if I was like, I'm going to prospect every day, Monday through Friday, up until 10 a.m. Okay, cool. Then what time are you starting? Be specific. Oh, I'm starting at 8. Okay. Yep. Try to race against yourself. Hey, I'm going to clear out this database. I'm going to get this many reach outs. I'm going to do this or that, or I'm going to get my CRM caught up, or I'm going to go ahead and start utilizing and get everything set up to where it's on the spectrum, whatever that looks like, right? Like start getting in it, because then after that, you just got to get in, work the few that you have scheduled for that day, and then you go out and eat out. The reason why I know that that is possible is because my wife does pretty decent business, and she's always in her CRM. Like she always makes times for the follow-ups, for the reach outs, and that's current clients or people that me and her kind of tag team in her. I mean, because there's times where we set an appointment, they go ghost. We went on a listing appointment, they're not ready to list yet. There, you know what I mean? There's multiple variations of that client or why they're involved, but it's like everybody knows, you know what I mean? So to me, that I know it's possible. I know it's hard, but then that's when you like need to be real with yourself, because I hear all the time too, like, I want to do this and I want to do this. I want to do this. Cool. To do that, this is what it's going to take.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really want to do that. I might want to do this. Like, cool, but let's be real and practical with what you want to do. Okay, but this is realistically the best approach that I can give you and suggestions to kind of help you do that. And that's still going to be very difficult. Like, just so that way we at least have both a mutual understanding, because I hate when people, like, even for example, right, when people say like, Mondo, what are your numbers? I'm not the end all be all. I'm trying to find that guy so I can shake his hand, introduce him, be in competition with that guy, and then smash that guy to then be the guy. Like, so, but take mine as a guide, right? Now, what happens a lot of times is people will be like, oh, so you're doing this many dials, you're doing this many, you're doing this many. Okay, here, you need to do this many dials, you need to do this. And if that was the case, I would go hire 10 of myself right now, start doing all this and that, and just multiply, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You know what I mean?
Know
so
your number, own your numbers, own it.
Own it. And then keep sharpening that axe. Like, to me, I wasn't happy with, because when Josh had first told me, and I think it was about the time I met you, at the time it was the average reach outs, and it wasn't just me, it was the statistical data that he was giving out at the time. It was like 200 reach outs, right? Would equate to like 40 conversations, 5 appointments. You remember the old tier of what it was?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, that's cool. And I'm there, but I don't want to be where everyone else is at. How do I do fucking better? So then it's like, okay, this is what I got to do that. So then it's like the things that I keep doing, like I'm still to this day, always self-developing, always trying to find new people to kind of like implement things, piggyback on kind of, oh, this is painting this bigger picture or emotional picture, or this is kind of helping this with that. You're like, just so that way I can go ahead and try to get better. Like, to me, I'm always like, oh, let me try this script, or let me try this approach. And then if I start getting some traction, cool, I'm going to use it. If not, I'm like, nope. But I'm always trying to find ways to just improve what we have, because I like what we have, and our lenders like it, the agents like it. Like, it flows pretty smooth, but I know, just like anything else, you could always, and there always can be better. So let's try to figure that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I love how you said, like, own your time and stuff like that. Like me, I knew, like, you know, just like you, like, I have that, I can separate that most of the time, that personal and business. And I knew at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock, I'm not calling those leads, bro. Like, I knew, like, I'm turning it off. Like, it's done. Like, that's my fiance's time. Like,
right.
But guess what? I'm calling them 8 o'clock in the morning.
Fuck yeah.
Right. I had it set when I was full time in real estate. It was set at 8 to 10. I'm calling everybody that's new first, and then the CRM. Oh, and guess what? Like, everyone talks about, like, oh, these leads come in. Yeah, the first 5 minutes. Like, you have the opportunity of for the most part, being able to, all right, lead comes in, boom, I'm calling them right now, right? But if you don't, if you're an agent that's out busy and doing things, just make the call, though. You don't have to do it right then and there. Or take that. Hey, Armando, just saw that you came through on my website. I'm with a client right now. I'm going to give you a call back in the next 15 minutes. Something like that, right?
Right. Yeah. You could change the auto text that goes out. Like, if you know you're going to be busy, you could change that to, hey, thank you for checking out our website. I'm currently with the client, but wanted to say thank you and introduce myself. I'll be following up with you here momentarily. Like, you can create and do whatever that you want to do, but just do it. Like, and to me, yes, it is speed to lead, right? But sometimes I'm at the point to where I would now start debating that. Like, I know that there's all these numbers or whatever, but I'm like, is this real estate specific? Is this sales specific? And where's that source? Are they calling from online? Right. So it's like, to me, I kind of like speaking to them the day after, 12 hours to the day after. And like, how I started seeing that is, like, I would go on longer hikes, or like, hey, it's hard for me and my wife, right? Like, I'm the ISA, she's the agent. Even if we're trying to be on personal, like, spouse time, business always comes up, right? Just because we talk about, so it's like hard as shit. So that's why we're like, hey, let's separate it like this, so that way we know and shit. It's I know like how, like for example, because so we'll be out and I'll call the next day, and I feel like that almost helped, because sometimes I'll call and I call too quick to where they're like, bro, I can't even check out the fucking property and you're already on my phone. Or, yeah, or bro, I wanted to see the list, so it's like, and they already got a text like that said, hey, if you need anything, reach out. So it's like, I feel like everything is designed obviously to help, to try to maximize or kind of get that engagement. So I let it be. Like, that's why I trust the drips and live by them, right? Like, to me, that's why I leave it on. Like, when they send back random shit off the email, it took me a while to figure out the proper things to reply back to start getting the right engagement. Because how many times do we get a response, whether it be text or email, and then the client doesn't engage again after that? You know what I mean? So it's like, then I'm like, damn, did I hit him with the right question? So I start tracking that or looking at that, like, hey, if I ask this, nothing. But if I switch it up, and again, it's around the 45-day mark of trying it, let's try this. Oh shit, dude, I'm getting hella engagement. You know what I mean? Then it's like, oh, I start switching it up to that.
Yeah. So yeah, I like I said, the speed to lead. I've seen the same thing. Like, I've closed as many deals as I've closed, and half of them I didn't call in the first 5 minutes. Now I would still go with actual real data that has been proven, and try to be as close to that as possible.
Right.
But then you're right. Like, first off, most of the people that you're going to call are not going to answer on the first call anyways.
Right.
Right. So it on average, it's 8 to 18 touches before you even get them to respond. So
and so it's like, so to me, and I don't mean this to sound like as a jab towards any and everybody, right? But it's like, just from what I normally hear, like, to me, I'm almost like, I'll give these people an extra 10, 15 minutes because they need that help. Because if I get them on the phone, it's over. Like, they might get them on the phone, but they might not know how to add that value, how to carry on the conversation. They're going to hear, I'm just looking. Okay, thanks, bye. To me, that's my favorite shit. I'm all like,
we're leading into that one as the first Q&A, bro.
So I'm all like, to me, it's like, I love that shit. Like, that's when I know, like, okay, this is going to be good. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't mind. So like, I don't think that people give into that effect. And maybe it's me now being too confident or slightly cocky. Like, cool, go ahead and get to them before I will. I'll still be the one ending up with the client. Like, I'll add way more value. They're going to see way more determination, commitment, just more in it, that they're going to be like, holy shit, like, okay. You know what I mean? So I don't think that there's no way to incorporate people's skill level or skill set or experience or whatever. So call me naive, but I'm like, yo, if there's a rookie who's only made 10 calls going to jump on, cool. Hey, you can have the first 5 minutes. You can have the first hour, my dude. Like, best of luck.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we've touched on when new leads come in, the follow up, how that looks. Let's jump in. So we got 45 minutes here. Let's jump into some Q&A, and I'm going to lead, and then I have some questions here marked off. I'm going to lead because we just talked about it. The just looking objection. Yeah. That's the most common. I look at it like this. You walk into a retail store, what are you telling the customer service person that asks you, is there anything I can help you with? You're fucking telling them, I'm just looking. It's the same shit. It's the same shit when you get on the phone with people. Like, great, you're just looking. And I love Chris Igo, and I think maybe you can say, like, I don't know where he got it from, but perfect. Maybe it is you. I specialize in people that are just looking, right? That's my favorite response. Great. We specialize in people that are just looking. If in a perfect world, what would be the house that you're looking for? Is it a 3-bedroom, 2-bath? Are you looking for a 2-car garage? Like, lead them. Like, that's not an objection. Yeah. Right? That's something. Yeah.
So even to me, like, I still try to, for that time, keep it general and vague, right? Because to me, I hate, like, and I don't hate it, but because I hear it so much, right? Because like I said, I keep studying people and all this other stuff, but it's like, oh, so you're just looking, oh, okay, well, what type of house are you looking for? Have you spoken to like, they start asking all these other questions before building that report, and that wall's still up, right? They're just like, hey, bro, I just already told you. So to me, one, as like a helpful tip, right? Because I want everybody to hopefully be able to get some benefit, start implementing some of this shit and taking everybody's business to the next level, right? To me, I call it an OR log, objections and responses. Now, when I first started, I had a notepad with me, and I kept that shit with me every day, every dial, period. Like just a regular whatever, right? And so I would write down every objection that I ever heard. And then I played I should have said that game. Like when you're with your boy and somebody gives you a jab, and then 5 minutes later, you're like, damn, I should have said that.
This.
Yeah. So to me, and I started picking that up when I was going back listening to my calls, like, I'm just looking like, that's why you ended the fucking call. Like, what? Yeah. So then it's like, then I start, to me, you should have at least 5, because sometimes they'll hit you with the same objection more than once. And it's good to just keep asking the question, so that way it puts it back on them and then starts having them go down another path, right? So like if we're role playing and it's like, nah, my man, I'm just looking. Oh, okay, perfect. Hey, what is it that you're looking for? Anything specific we could help you find? 2 right there. Oh, perfect. Hey, what is it you're looking for? What can we help you find? Oh, well, no, just this and that. I know my lead source. So, hey, was there anything specific about this ad that brought you to the property or anything like that? Okay, well, and then sometimes, nah, man, just seriously, just looking. Oh, okay. So do you own your own property then? Were you? Oh, well, no. Well, and it's yes or no, right? And from there, oh, well, the reason why I ask is sometimes people are just looking for comparables if they already own their own home. Were you own your own home? You didn't want to CMA? Okay, cool. Were you looking, or were you considering possibly selling, buying? Okay. Was there anything holding you or putting things on hold that we might be able to assist with, or a certain time frame you want us to circle back? Then they'll say, yeah, like 6 months. Okay. Again, then what's putting things on hold for that 6 months that we can't help you with now? And then start like asking the same questions and kind of going around that to where they give you the real objection, so that way the conversation can really start. So to me, like that one, or I'm working with an agent. Oh my God, like those are butter. Like I'm like, oh man, cool. Because I play the anti-odds. I bet on that agent, whoever they're speaking with, gonna be shitty. Like that's gonna be a shitty agent. They're not gonna give follow-up. They're not gonna work it as much. They're gonna have that one conversation and done with them. To me, they don't even know what they mean when they say I'm working with an agent. Because I have, oh, well, yeah, I'm speaking with them. They're helping me with their credit. Okay. So then I follow up 2 or 3 times. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to post this in my group, because this is how we got the client. They were like, no, I'm working with an agent. I'm good. Okay. And then followed up a couple times later, and you see my progression of like, oh, nope, still going good or whatever. Just spoke to them the other day, got him in touch with our lender and set an appointment. And it was after like 22 call attempts. It was like 9 conversations. They came through the site working with an agent, but that agent didn't follow up with them until they were ready. They don't have, and if you don't have a CRM, or you don't put them on a calendar or something to track it, or for it to come up to remind you, I'm sorry, your brain, or as much as you think you're smart or savvy, or, oh, I remember everything. Sorry. And sorry and thank you, because you won't. I'll fucking call them when it's that time. And guess who puts on the cape and saves the day? You know what I mean? So to me, I love that shit. I would say out of every 10 calls that I take a month that are like, and it's well more than that, but let's just say out of every 10, right? If somebody told me I'm working with an agent, I'd say no more than 2. 20% actually fucking close, period. Everybody else is, they need credit repair, or their agent's out showing them houses. Like just the other day, we just got one because they were pre-qualified already. They were told me that they're working with a lender. Then they told me, oh, I found an agent. It was my wife's friend, Okay, well, perfect. Hey, if you ever need a second pair of eyes, or if they don't ever meet your needs, we're here for you. Perfect. Followed up again. Hey, just wanted to do a quick follow-up. I'm glad you called, bro. I lost your information, didn't have it. We were getting ready to go on a contract, and all of a sudden we found out that we needed we had the down payment, but we didn't know that we needed something called seller cost or seller concessions or something like that. I'm like, what? Like, you've been looking this whole, what? Like, you're just now, I am, my man. I apologize for that. You're not gonna have to worry about that with us. Let us go ahead and explain to you the process, what's going on. We'll go ahead and get with your lender for you, make sure that this is the best, pre-qual for you, best terms, best rate, best whatever, so that way we know how to best represent you as our clients. Oh, okay, perfect. Boom, we just stole that client. You know what I mean? I say stole, and I know what we know. So it's like, hey, this is how we're going to help. This is what we're going to do. You're not going to have to worry about that with us. Let's get it going. You know what I mean? Set the appointment, and we go ahead and go from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so with that objection of the agent, are you just letting them know that you're still there for them, or are you still trying to find like how
appointment? Like, hey, are you committed? Where are you guys at in the and so that's why. So I'm working with an agent, and then it's like, what would I say? Are you working with an agent? How long have you been working with an agent? How are things going? Where are you at in the process? Like I start coming up with all this shit, and then when it came time for it, and somebody's like, oh, I'm working with an agent. Oh, okay, how are things going? Oh, things are going great. Oh, okay, then I go to the next one. How long have you been working with them? And then at some point it starts, what wait, you're meaning to tell me that you've been working with them for a year, you've been out looking for properties for the past 6 months and you're still not under contract? Like, then it's like, what purchase price do you win? And then start like, hey, did you sign an agreement with them? Because I would really like the opportunity to just kind of get face-to-face, have one of our agents go over our team, what we offer, what differentiates us, how we can help, how we can ensure you're not going to have these problems. When's a good day and time for us to meet? And so I always ask, remember how I'm like, hey, whether it be the first call, the second call, I ask, right? Yep. And then let's just say that they say, you know what? Nah, I'm going to have to ask my husband and kind of see whatever. Okay. Just because you asked doesn't mean you can't ask again. I ask again. Okay, well, hey, listen, why don't we go ahead and set up an appointment? We'll make it tentative. And then if we need to change it, we'll go ahead and do so. Our schedule fills up pretty quick. I want to go ahead and make sure that we, hold and save your time slot since I know that you're already out looking. Let's just go ahead and set it for this day and this time, or what day and time works. We'll set it. And then if we need to change it, we can go ahead and accommodate that. Asked again. Well, I'm not sure. And I'm not being negative or pushy or trying to jam it down the throat, but it's like, oh, okay, well, hey, no worries. And then I keep asking value like, oh, okay, well, this and that. And you know what, if you want a second opinion too, we can get a lender. And yeah, you know what, these questions that you're asking, trust me, like I get it. I can understand your worry and your concern, especially after your last experience. So that's why I feel like in this situation, it would be best just for you to get face-to-face with one of our lenders and an agent. Are you sure you wouldn't want to meet with them? It's a quick, no more than an hour meeting. We can go ahead and go to you. You can come to one of our local offices. We can go buy you a cup of coffee. Well, what works best for you? Are you sure you don't want to meet? I ask again. Like I'm trying to get those fucking no's out of the way as quick as possible. So that way the next time I go, it's like, hey, what's going on, miss? Did you speak to your husband? When's a good day and time for us to meet? Okay. Is there a number that I could reach out to him on? Kind of go ahead and see, what if he has any questions, what we might be able to assist him with, what any holds up or objections might be. Try to get that information so that way I can start communicating with all decision makers. You know what I mean? So it's how do you go about that? But how I got to that part and that confident of a flow and being able to continue that forward is keeping that OR log, keeping those objections, writing my responses, and then why I don't have it in front of me anymore. That one's more of just like notes for when I'm calling. But I would go back and read it like, oh, I'm working with an agent. Oh, that one's going to be one of my top ones. So that one's right here. So then I had the questions laid out in front of me. So it was like, so what about this? What about that? And I'm like, okay, like, so then it just started working. And that you could do that with anything, because then like, let's just say that you set the appointment with whatever, but then they go ghost or they cancel or reschedule. Then it's whatever. To me, that might not be an objection, but you need to kind of overcome that or be able to reset that appointment or redo whatever. Sometimes you might need to re-express that value or come at it a different way or a different approach or just reinstill it, whatever that looks like. But it's like those might be different objections that you then need to overcome and just keep it moving, right? Like you don't want to just set up the appointment and I think that's it. No, there could still be other objections or situations that come up with own objections. Then it's like, okay, then how do we overcome this? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Love it. So, all right, our first question is from Jessica. How many calls are you making a day? So your goal is you're not basing on the goal number of calls, it's reach out. So you're shooting for 200 a day.
Minimum. Yeah, 200 minimum of reach out and it's all on things like, because what people don't understand, or not that they don't understand, but it's like how it adds up quickly too for new lead intake, right? Is let's go ahead and let's go back, because on average up until this month or two, we were normally getting about 30 on average, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say that we got 30, but going back to the earlier formula where I said you take out 10, okay, so now we're at 20. But let's just say out of those 20, let's just say it was a good day, you spoke to half of them, you spoke to 10. Well, that 10 is going to repopulate not tomorrow but the next day, right? Mm-hmm. So let's just say that was that day. You read all those out. You have the 10 that you need to follow up with, not tomorrow, but the next day. But then tomorrow comes, you have another 30. Let's just even do the math again, right? It's the same. Get rid of 10. You contacted 10, but you're going to have that other 10 roll over, right? Then on the next day when you're supposed to call that first 10 that you missed, let's just say you got another 30 leads. Okay, we take out our 10, but now you at least have 40 new leads right there that you need to work in addition to whatever else you have. And then as long as that keeps snowballing, your day will easily start becoming, especially over a 2-week mark. It's just a continuous, like, holy shit, right? So,
and that's why you need a consistent lead source too. Something that is giving not 1 or 2 leads a day. Something that's 1 or 2 leads is better, but as many leads as possible, because it's a numbers game.
Yeah. So I right now, with me wanting to get more involved with coaching and that aspect of things, I've shortened my, I guess we say ISA schedule, my dialing schedule, things like that. But I know that I could still handle comfortably 30 leads a day if that was coming in. That's where I would like to be. Right now, I'm currently at about 10, but I know if I still get at least 10 new leads a day, that'll still equate to, and again, my schedule changes, so I don't work exactly every day, but how it breaks down is to at least get about 30 appointments a month. So I'm averaging about one a day, sometimes more. And I used to have more agents, but right now I have 2 primary agents. They're both beasts, and I want to get them to their capacity, or at least consistent struggle is what I call it. Like I want them to kind of be like swimming, kind of drowning for like a minute or two before we go ahead and bring over that next agent. But like, so right now we have 2 primary agents that we do, and 10 new leads a day, getting 1 appointment a day will keep me at about, on average, 7 escrows a month. Nice. Now, if I had 30 leads coming in a month, from what I remember what I was doing, I was getting on average 60 appointments a month. And so it was about double, but it was, about a third, or double, if not triple the leads, right? But then that causes other stress points to where sometimes that I'm setting appointments and none of those 2 agents can make it. So I'm having to extend it longer. So it's like I need a
fine line between enough leads and too many leads.
Yeah, or it's like I'd rather just fully commit to where it's like, okay, cool, we're going to do this, but then I need 1 more agent and maybe an assistant or an ISA or something like that. And I don't even think I would need an assistant or an ISA until, 6 months, a year in, until that same cycle starts building into where they're getting there. But then it's like, that to me would be the quickest way I see growth, right? Like to me, the reason why I kind of stepped back and started doing my own thing on my own side is because, our mentor, he's fucking busy. Like it's so hard to get in touch with the guy just to have a quick, like, hey, what about this? What about that? So I was like, we know what our partnership is and what that looks like. So I'm going to do this over here and kind of do my own thing. So that way I don't have to be as codependent or as like reliant. I could just make these decisions or moves and kind of still be able to facilitate that time, because there are times when I'm all like, fuck, I only got 10 leads today. And it wasn't anything intentional. You might have been creating leads, right? And it takes the 24 hours so before it starts getting the traction and before people start coming through. So there might be a day or two where I don't get any leads and I'm like, well, fuck, what do I do? I already called my day. Like, and to me, I'm like,
and the integrations don't help that either.
Well, it's like,
and then you get help with 100 leads in one day.
Yeah. And to me, I would rather struggle that way and then be able to build it. So then where I have somebody consistent to where if I'm struggling, it's like, hey, yo, help me out. Like, I'm going to start passing these leads to you. My system to follow up. Here's what we're going to do, right? Like, to me, at some point, one of my goals or thoughts or projects is I intend to have my own call center. And I want to have people that I personally train. And when I say call center, I mean, it's not going to be virtual, but it'll be in the sense that maybe I have somebody in New York, I have somebody in California, I have somebody whatever, but we're all operating under the same platform to where it's like, okay, we have clients in this state, you're going to help them, and then we're going to build out a team here. You have someone here and there, and then, but until then, I'm going to be the one coaching them to where it's like, yo, we can call on any market and anything, and they'll start here. But then that's how I see it best growing. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have a call center to where I'm not just facilitating my team or my agents, but hopefully other teams and agents across the country. You know what I mean? Like, so when I see this, like, I'm all like, how would I do it if I was solely responsible for all risk, cost, people? Like, I don't want to hire on an ISA and then I give them enough to do, or bring on an ISA and I feel like I can confidently train him or get him to where they need to be, right? So it's like, I feel I wouldn't ever coach or train anybody that I wouldn't feel confident on if I couldn't give some type of benefit or know that I could help them or help them grow, right? So to me, that's where I feel like I'm at now. I'm still obviously young in the game, but it's like, I've done this enough. I've done too many dials. I've had too many lenders come through. I've tried too many flows and processes to where I know what's working, what's not. I know when to scale up or scale down. I know what a consistency is like, or what numbers we need, whether it be new leads, whether it be this, that, or the other, to consistently stay where we need to be at. And then at that point, it's just always like, okay, this is where we're at. Cool, let's double up, and then we'll do this. And then sure as shit, it just starts going there. You know what I mean? So I would know those numbers as well, because those could be just as pivotal as in regards to, or as much as, you know, your schedule or how much time you're going to allocate to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. All right. let's go to the next one. How do you? So George asked Armando, will you be doing more videos in the Facebook group? I don't know what. There's so many Facebook groups out there, so I don't know which one he's talking about. Armando does have his own Facebook group. If you guys aren't a part of that, go ahead and join that. But
yeah, I post primarily in my Facebook group now. Okay. It says it's persistent and consistent, an online lead community is what it says, and you'll see my name next to it. You could join there. I post videos in there. I'm not sure what group he's referring to. I used to post in the alumni group, Joshua Smith's alumni group. That's his personal group. And then I started posting just to kind of help out other people in Perfect Storm, just since I was always in it, using it day in and day out. I wanted to kind of help on that aspect. But all those I do post in mine now. I just would rather, I never wanted to contradict anything that he might say or answer or, things like that. So I didn't want to make it seem like, well, he said this or he does that. Or so I'm like, I'd rather do my own thing. So I post all my content in there. Again, it's persistent and consistent.com. I do have videos in there. And I like, for example, people always ask like, what if I don't have Perfect Storm? I can help you out with any CRM. They're essentially all the same. Like I'm sure they all have drips. I'm sure they all have tasks. I'm sure they all have, whatever, to where it's like, I might not personally be as fluent with it.
Yep.
But as long as you know who or where to go to, hey, how do I get these drips set up or added, or how do I add these tasks, or how do I do this and that? As long as you can go do that on your end, I can help you with your CRM. That's any CRM. Like that doesn't matter, right? So
we work with every CRM that you can think of, and I've used it. So we're very familiar with Perfect Storm, Ylopo, Follow Boss, Commissions Inc., Conversion, Real Geeks. I mean, you name the freaking site, and we have clients that are
awesome.
using it.
And then so tell them like, hey, and two, I welcome it. Like, and in my group, if you have anything, I like to answer back in videos if I can, because I feel like it gives people a more detailed idea. Yeah, well, just also too, because like, for example, like when I tell people like, hey, here's my numbers. And then people say, oh, well, you need to get these numbers. That could be misleading. That could be frustrating and overwhelming for the person. So it's like, no, I want you to know, hey, these are my numbers, but this is everything that it took to get there. So that's why I was really interested and excited to do this interview, because I can go ahead and explain like, hey, yeah, these are the numbers, but there's more back end shit to get it there. You know what I mean? Like even when people, it's funny because I know that people mean it being like genuine and sincere and trying to be nice. But when people tell me like, oh, dude, you're doing great, or dude, you're killing it, I get so fucking pissed because I'm not anywhere I need to be. Like to me, I'm at 34 closings year to date. In my head, when I was first speaking with Josh, I was like, yo, dude, we need to get it to where I'm doing 50 a month. Like I need 50 closings a month. Let's figure out how to get there, how many minimal people it could take, but what it would take to get there. Let's do that. I wanted 50 months. So every time I hear like, oh, dude, you're doing good, I'm like, it reminds me like, bro, you're not there yet. And I'm like, no, thanks. Fuck. Like I get so pissed. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, if they have any questions, or if there's anything specific that they might need help on or advice on or suggestions, whatever, just post it in the group, and then, we'll definitely go ahead and get it to them.
Awesome. All right. Quing asked, how do you follow up besides just checking in when you don't get the appointment with your first initial calls? We kind of went over that, and that's obviously, following up based off of what they're telling you inside of that, right?
Just make sure you're asking enough questions so that way you know kind of what to go over. As long as you know what they're waiting on or whatever, that becomes what you're following up on. Like, oh, you're waiting for a divorce? Hey, how's the divorce? Is everything going? You doing okay? Well, because I ask too, like, because I don't just ask like, hey, how's the divorce? Like when I'm asking, oh, you're going through a divorce, sorry to hear. Or is it congratulations? And then they're like, oh, bro, it's congratulations, my man. And I'm all like, oh, okay.
Depends who you ask. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's a female, sometimes I know that they're a little bit more sensitive to it. So I'm like, oh, sorry to hear, sorry that you're having to go through all that. I know how, just frustrating and just morally beating it could be. And then sometimes they'll tell me like, fuck no, I just lost 180 pounds of dead weight. Like, I'm all like, oh, well, congratulations. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't like, it's not like I'm just like, oh, so you're going through divorce? Cool. When are you going to be done with it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then I ask them like on any question. So I'm always like, hey, is there a time frame that you would like me to follow up with you? Hey, when would you like me to check back in on you? Did you have a time frame that you were hoping to have that completed, done, finished, or whatever, right? So that way I can get a gauge to see, one, how serious they are, two, kind of what their time frame is. But I call it the last slice approach. Like, have you ever offered somebody like, oh, you're eating pizza? It's like, oh, you could have the last slice, but damn well you didn't want to give it up. You wanted it. It's like the same shit. It's like I ask you, being nice and courteous, but I already know when I'm going to follow up with you. I already know what I'm going to say or what's going down. I'm asking as like a professional courtesy because I want to make sure that we're on the same page, that everything's lighting up. Like if they're like, oh, I'm going to pay off my credit card, I'm going to do this and that and the other. Oh, okay, perfect. When were you hoping to have that done? Probably in the next like 4 months. I'm like, well, how much debt do you have on your credit card? What does that look like? Like, how many credit cards do you have? Like, okay, you know what I mean? Start getting into that, because if they're like, oh, I'm paying off my credit card, I get paid on Friday, I'll have it done by Tuesday. Oh, okay, perfect. Like, I know they're a little bit more like serious with it, you know?
Yep, absolutely. So asking, digging deeper is what I call it.
Anything to add value too. Like, for example, like when I communicate with the people, I'm not like trying to have these lengthy ass conversations. As a matter of fact, I try to keep my conversations all under 7 minutes. But if I'm talking to them and they're like, oh, I was just listening to this book, reading this book. Oh, what are you reading? Who's the author? Do you read a lot? What books are you into? Like, start picking that shit apart. So that way, like, for example, one of these guys that I'm talking to, he's a future client. He's a car salesman here in Arizona, loves Grant Cardone. So when I went to the 10X conference, I was like he already knew I was going. I was like, hey, my man, I know you were considering it. Next year, you got to go. If you do, let me know. We'll go together. Like, just
here's a picture of Grant.
Like, well, I'm like, dude, like, check out this guy or check out this, or this was one of my favorite speakers there. Maybe you should check him out. I took a lot of info from him. Maybe you would like him as much too, since I know you're a fan of Grant's. Boom. Or, hey, I read this book. It's similar to what you were reading. I know you would like this. Check it out. You know what I mean? Just shit like that. Like, it doesn't have to be real estate. You just want to get that engagement and then be top of mind. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So Renee asks, what is your most common objection, comment, and your response? Obviously, we went over those two, right? The just looking and I'm working with another realtor.
Yeah, those by far are the ones that I hear are just like, oh, no, I'm good. Or, I mean, it's essentially that. But like any objection you hear, once you start breaking it down and unpacking it, it's kind of like a stall tactic, right? Like you can go ahead and easily pick apart questions to go ahead and get further and figure out what the real objection is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
People tell me that they're working with an agent, they think that's going to stop me. And I'm like, nope. And I keep going. And then they're like, well,
shit. Well, really not.
Exactly. And it could be, and because I'm trying to think of something else that I hear pretty often or regular, but I mean, that's pretty much it. You know what I mean?
Those two are the most common.
Yeah.
100% is the most common objections when calling Facebook leads, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because the intent of the individual is not there. Like, for example, Zillow, they're actually putting in their contact information on a specific property that they went on and searched.
Right?
Facebook
website is a home search website.
Yes.
Real estate based.
Yes. Like people are on Facebook like this aimlessly. Oh, what's on there? Oh, a house, nice.
Right. Oh yeah. They get trapped by the picture. Like I said, it could have been, check out this diet, or what fruit do you look like? Like, it's always the most stupid shit. And it could have been between this or that. I like this house versus this. They just did it there. Right. So it's like, it's hard in the sense, but it's also easier because everybody's on the spectrum. Like everybody. Yeah. Now, sometimes it's, no, dude, like I'm a professional renter. Like I will never buy. And I would rather know that. Like, okay, perfect. Yeah. Hey, listen, if things ever change, if you'd ever like to see what that looks like, because I don't just stop like, oh, okay, cool, thanks. Nah, man, keep asking questions, try to go ahead and see how you can keep moving it forward and then go from there. You know what I mean? Like, to me, just to add in that value, like anything that I can do, like, hey, I noticed that, like, for example, if they were talking about, they came through the site like, oh, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to sell. Like that'll also be something that I hear too. Like, oh, no, I'm not selling. I just was looking. Like they already know, like they must have already gotten calls or whatever. And I'm like, hey, no worries at all. Sounds like you might be looking, or you might have been looking for a while. Like nobody ever tells me that unless I know that they've been on multiple people's sites. So I just cut straight to that shit. Hey, sounds like you've been looking for a while, huh? Been on another couple people's sites. Yeah. I didn't know that all you guys were going to be calling. And then so I make a joke out of it. Yeah, you're right. Why don't you go ahead and just block all those other guys' numbers and save mine? That way you only have to worry about me calling. Like I just start trying to be funny and like personable to where they're like, oh, okay, well, you know what? And then I spend that time with them. Like, for example, one example would be when somebody wants to sell or buy, we do a lot of duels, fortunately. So it's like, I'll explain to them what a contingency purchase is. Most of the time, they've never even heard that word contingency, right? So then I'm like, oh, well, this is this. I'm like, essentially, it's to where how we protect you to where you won't end up without a house or getting stuck paying on two. That's like, I say that thing so many times, and they're like, that was literally that was my biggest fucking worry. Like, thanks. Like, when can we? And I'm like, but it was just that extra 5 minutes or so explaining that now saved me 4 or 5 calls, excuse me, 6 follow-ups, all this back and forth to where they're like, oh yes, like that's exactly what we were working or wanting to work on, but we were hesitant about. We didn't know how to go about that. That's exactly what we wanted. Yes, can we do that? I'm like, of course. When's a good time for us to stop by? You know what I mean?
Set that appointment.
Yep.
Cool. All right, and then that talks about that answers Quang's question of, is there something of value you bring when you follow up? And obviously, it's that Grant Cardone, the finding out what their interests are and stuff like that. So that answers that question.
If they're like, I'm just keeping an eye on the market. One, before I call anybody, I always go back to their file, like their file's up in front of me, and I'm reading my notes of what I like. Just stop by, this and the other, ask this and that, no time for this and that, the other, just wanted to keep a pulse on the market. Perfect. Hey, just wanted to do a quick check-in on you, see if there's anything we can do for you. No, cool. Hey, I just made another monthly update video. I'm going to go ahead and shoot it over to you. That way you can go ahead and have all the information you need. Again, nothing we can do for you? Nope. Okay, perfect. Hey, this is my cell phone number. If you need anything, text or call, let me know. Okay, perfect. Boom. You know what I mean? Like, It doesn't need to be, and I mean, there could be something like, right? Like, let's just say it's a holiday and let's go to spring and you come up with a spring cleaning checklist. Hey, just wanted to go ahead and reach out. Hey, I put together a spring, like everybody likes free shit. Yeah. Everybody likes being helped and having that value, and everybody likes feeling a part of something. So it's like, hey, I created a spring checklist. I was giving it to some of my past clients, but they were digging it, giving it out to all their friends and family, and everybody's been really liking it. So I just thought I'd go ahead and call, see if you wanted a copy of it as well. Who's going to say no? You know what I mean? It's free, whatever. Sometimes it's, even if you can't call, shoot an email or text. Hey, just sent you an email with, spring cleaning checklist. I know a lot of our clients were finding it, value and helpful. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you know that I sent it and it's in your email box. If you have any questions or if we can do anything for you, let me know. You know what I mean? Like, and if they already told you that they're a year out and you know they're a year out, like their bankruptcy discharge date isn't until that time frame or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, then don't beat them down. Just pepper them with little value, with personal things, with this, that, and the other, until then it comes a little bit closer. Then it's like, hey, listen, how can we get a little bit more specific and detailed and, narrow this in? You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Perfect. So Elliot asks, what are your key phrases that help you pick up on that tell what personality types they are? So do you even worry about the personality types? You just go based off of how they speak?
Personality types, not necessarily in the capacity that it's like, I'm more focused on where they're at in the spectrum, right? Like, do they own their own house? What's their current situation? What brought them to the site? Things like that. What I mean by like identifying the personality is like, you could tell when somebody's going to be just short, or like the person who's like a know-it-all and they're kind of slightly condescending and they don't need any help, or they're too, you know what I mean? So it's like, then you might need to kill them with a little bit more kindness, you know what I mean? Or the person who's not as educated or informative, or maybe a first-time home buyer, maybe they're going to need a little bit more of an informative approach. So that's what I mean by is like knowing how you're going to be able to contribute and add that value, and then kind of go from there, right? Like, for example, what I tell what I tell my clients or the agents I work with is like, if somebody's talking and they keep bringing up credit repair or having bad credit, guess what we fucking specialize in?
Credit repair.
Guess maybe I'll pepper a couple of other things in because I want them to know we're going to do more than that and hear some of the other stuff. But then there's so much more. That's why we want to meet and go over this with you. But that main focus is that credit repair. If they're talking about, I was speaking with an agent 6 months ago, it was horrid, guess what I specialize in? You know what I mean? Or guess who's going to be the best agent on the planet? Like, I'm always what they're needing, and that's my main path. Now I'll add other stuff like, oh, you were doing that. Oh, okay. So what's your current living situation? Oh, you're owning too, and you're considering selling. Oh, okay. Well, we do a lot of contingency purchases. We can go ahead and did they give you a free current value report? Like, I start adding that value, offering the stuff that I know that we could help that people would love. Oh, no, they haven't. Well, here's what we would want to do. And yeah, we find this is the best process. When would be a good time for our agent or lender to stop by, go ahead and knock all this out and iron this out for you? Okay. Then we set up the appointment and we go ahead and go from there. You know what I mean? Like, in regards to the follow-up too, because I could see why it would be a little bit more, or for example, it gets to a certain point to where I don't follow up with them anymore. Remember, I just do a quick check-in. So it becomes our agents who then do the follow-up and are checking in or doing most of that, right? So to me, once they see the value enough to meet and they meet with you, from there it should be pretty easy on how you're going to help that client or facilitate them or what their needs or interests or likes are. You know what I mean? Like there's certain clients that I know that they're like they really like beers and different kind of like they're like in different beer tasting clubs or memberships where they're doing all this. And I'm like, dude, did you try this new one? Like, oh, dude, so like just something to kind of relate and be personal by, because what I was taught was know you, like you, trust you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I want everybody to do that, to where that's why I friend request everybody on Facebook before we might not have even done a deal, but I'm going to friend request you because I want to put that like personal relationship into it to where, you know, like, oh, dude, this guy is pretty funny. He has a family. You know what I mean? Oh, damn, you know what I mean? Whatever, to where they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then it just, that right there helps, because you're always, as long as you're active on your Facebook and your social platforms, you're always posting shit and content to where they're subconsciously and indirectly seeing your real estate shit, whether it be just listed, just sold, current market update. Oh, here's this video I made to help you out, whatever. But it's continuously to where all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm going to get ready to buy it. Oh, you know what? I got that guy on my Facebook. And people hit it there all the time. You know what I mean? Which to me, I know it was through a Facebook ad, but it was through actual Facebook. To me, that's a double whammy. I'm like, yeah.
Done. So you're really not worried about the personality types.
Because like, I don't want to narrow, like, I don't want anybody to ever classify me. Like even just off of appearance, and I'm tattooed and shit. When people go in, like if I'm walking into a store, they're probably gonna be like, "Ah, this guy, he's a chump. He ain't nobody." You know what I mean? When I could be a billionaire and you wouldn't know, like just because I'm dressed to look like or act like. So I don't like to prejudge people until we're speaking. And when I mean that, I figure out what your personality type is. I mean how I can best assist you, like what you're in need of, and how I'm going to be able to fill that void.
Yeah, absolutely. So Amanda asks, how are you getting more people to give their phone number? That is a question for me. So it is Facebook lead forms. And essentially what they do is they pull it's a form that's on Facebook that pulls all the data from the lead's profile. We are in the process of also utilizing a system called Disruptive Forms. So that's by a company called LeadsBridge. It acts exactly like a lead form, but you put it on your own websites and landing pages. So that's something that we're testing out too. They just rolled that out about a month ago. But that's it. Facebook lead forms and lead ads. Let's see. Joseph asks, what does your intro sound like?
So I always try to keep it. And the reason why I started with this is because I was calling on 2-day-old leads, 2 month or 2 week, 2 month, 2 year old leads. You know what I mean? So it was always just, I'm always short. So like, let's just say if I was calling Brett, right? So, hi, Brett. Yeah. What's going on? Hey, what's going on, man? This is Armando. How are you? And then by the time, good. Who is this? My name's Armando. I was just calling to do a quick follow-up with you. Wanted to see if there was anything our team could currently assist you with real estate-wise. Just short and simple. Like I don't give a real estate name or my whole, like Armando Gomez. Hey, this is just Armando. Wanted to do a quick follow-up with you. See if there was anything our team could currently help with real estate-wise. And then from there, it's so general and vague that it kind of helps. Well, nah, I'm good. Just nothing right now, to where I start getting those weak, like little softball objections to where it's like, oh, okay, I already know what to do with those. So it's like, okay, well, what are you looking for? What's putting things on hold? What's your current situation? Same questions, and then go from there. But it's always, hey, what's going on? This is Armando. I just wanted to call, do a quick follow-up with you, see if there was anything our team could currently assist you with real estate-wise. And even in my videos, like if you go in on it, it's essentially the same thing. Yep. Sometimes it's a different variation or tweaked a certain way. But I mean, that's primarily it.
And then after that, it's just question after question, having those answers that you know that you want. So perfect. So George asks, if you find that a follow-up system script works better than what is in Perfect Storm, does Perfect Storm update that drip? No, they use their. I'm just going to answer that question. No, they don't. They use their own proven drips and scripts and everything. So I know they're always looking at other things, but no, Josh writes all his own stuff. So Deborah asks, can you share an example script if you don't mention, and you just went over that, if you don't mention you are in real estate on the first call, how do you introduce yourself? Same thing. I'm Armando. Yeah.
Yep. This is Armando. Sometimes I'll be like,
Who's Armando?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's Armando? Oh, and then I'll tell them because I know, just because I want to like nip that shit in the butt. Like, yeah, you were just checking out one of our properties on our Facebook ad. Oh, well, yeah. So I'm like, hey, no worries. Yeah, I'm sorry for the unexpected call. And I know people say not to apologize, but I always want to make it seem like, hey, I didn't mean to startle you or throw you off. Just wanted to call. I'm in between appointments. Just wanted to make sure you were able to, or make sure that you were able to utilize the site right. Make sure that, it would check out the functionality. Make sure you have no questions, just see what we could do to assist you. And then go from there. Like I said, it's rare that people are pissed that you're trying to help them. And then even if from there, like, clicking up, cool, I'm gonna call you back in the next day, and then we'll have
right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we'll call you the next day. I'm gonna call you in 21 days now.
Well, by then they're like, hey man, sincerely, I was just looking at that, or hey, you know what? I realistically can't do anything until this, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, then it comes back down to picking it apart, figuring out where they're at. Like, oh, I've spoken to a lender. I know I need to do this and that. I'm 6 months out. Oh, well, what lender was it that you worked with? What mortgage company? How long ago was that? What was the actual reason? Well, the reason why I ask is, all lenders have different criteria for eligibility. We vet ours regularly. Would you like to go ahead and have a second opinion or see if we might be able to get things done a little bit sooner? Same thing. Those are all questions. Those are all questions that I started formulating into I guess you'd say a script, right? It wasn't, what I did was, and just going back to it, I took Josh's scripts because even if before you're ready to call, it'll still pull up. Now, I don't need to look at those. I haven't looked at those in probably like a year and a half because after the amount of dials that I do, it's just second nature now. Sometimes I'll even say shit and I'm so robotic that I'm like, did I just fucking say that? And then I look over at my baby and I'm like, did I talk about that? She's like, yeah. I'm like, damn, I just went in complete robot mode because it was so second nature that all of a sudden they bring it back and I'm like, oh, okay. So to me, whatever scripts you like, my man, plug and play. Make sure that you like it. Make sure that it's getting the results you like, and then make it your own. You know what I mean? I turned all the yous into hey, just wanted to check in on you, to where they know, oh, it's not as. And then I've only had one person that ever said, you're a real estate professional. You should be using
proper language, proper grammar.
Yeah, and so I corrected. I was like, I totally understand. They put whatever they had a couple grammatical errors too. So I put this and the other and I sent it out and I was like, this is just a quick text. I didn't mean to send it, whatever. I was like, but if we had to script it out, look at how much longer it would have taken you to have to make that. And then he sent out a smiley face, but with the sweat and then the laugh being like, oh shit. I'm like, yeah, man. I was like, I don't mean to not sound professional. If that's the tone or what you would like, hey, I could be that guy for you. I just like to be more relatable.
You can get my paragraphs.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay. And one of the best things, there was actually Josh who told me, and it was probably one of the best compliments I've ever had, because I was always in the videos that I send out or push, I'm like, oh, what about this? Or I look young, or my tattoos, or I don't speak proper. He's like, bro, all that shit will go out the window within the first 60 seconds of you talking to anybody. Because within that first 60 seconds, it's going to be about what you're talking about, and they're going to be so focused on listening on it that it's not going to worry about what you look like, what your fucking tattoos are, or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. And so I stuck by that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just got to be yourself, man. Mm-hmm. So Ray asks, what if I haven't followed up enough? Where do I start? Most recent or oldest leads?
Most recent, unless well, so for example, right? So I'd say anything less than 6.7 months out, because that's what the average Facebook lead is. But to me, I always start with newer than older, because I feel like the newer I can still try to catch them a little bit more. The ones who are older, they just have a higher probability of already working with another agent, maybe being under contract somewhere in the process, to where I'd rather start using my energy and efforts towards somebody that I might be able to catch from the jump personally before somebody who's a little bit further in. But technically, I'd say anything under 7 months out, get caught up as quick as you can, get them all set up on the spectrum. When I mean the spectrum, where are they at timeline wise? What's the time frame? If you know that they're, hey, follow up with me in 6 months. Like we said earlier, chop it down to 3 months, put that update. Technically, you don't need to work that one again until it comes up in those 3 months. Yeah. So then that one's out the way. So then it's start getting them all set up to where they're somewhere on the spectrum, you know where their timeline is, and get it caught up as quick as possible. I know that it can be hard and overwhelming and tedious, but if you want, go on a dialer. Even if you had thousands of leads, dude, tell me that number. I'll tell you when you should be able to have that all ironed out. And it would be a lot sooner than you think. You could have a 10,000 lead database and in under a month have that all ironed out.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, you weren't accurately in there enough or doing it the proper way to go ahead and get it in there. When I first started, one of Josh's CRMs, it had 70,000 leads in it, 70,000. And I was like, I'm going to get this bitch all caught up. So within 7 months, if I just right now, like wash my hands and was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I gave the fucking, it was conversion. So if I gave the conversion to somebody else, they're going to be like, bro, I fucking love you, because everything is lined up. Everything has a task date. Everything's perfectly notated to where they could just jump in and know where it's at, what we're waiting on, what was happening in the last conversation, what was said, you know, what their current situation is, everything, to where they're going to be like, oh shit. Where to me, I was like, oh man, like, I don't know. It was so hard weeding through all that, but I love that. That's what kind of helped me figure all this out a little bit, well, a lot quicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I strive for, is that when I started this a couple years back, I think I was one of the first people called an ISA, and I had to look up what that was. I was like, I don't know, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And then anytime I even told somebody in the real estate industry, oh, I'm Josh's ISA. What's an ISA?
Like, I guess somebody will ask that same question.
What's an ISA?
What is an ISA?
And I'm all like, so that's how new it is. But it's so new that it's like the sexy new like position everybody wants, when everybody is like, how can I get it? But I feel like they don't give it enough like attention or respect that they deserve, because they want somebody to call on their leads to get them X appointments or deals that they're themselves not calling on. And if that was easy, I'm sure they would be calling on it. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
I feel like that's one of the hardest things to do and one of the toughest skill sets to have. But once you have that in any capacity, I feel like it just opens up so many more other avenues and options for you.
Absolutely. So we have about another 5 minutes left here, just to keep us on track for our next appointment. So I'm just going to fire off a couple. Let's try to be straight to the point with them, because you and I can talk. So Armando, Jeff says, Armando, are you messaging through Perfect Storm, or are you using your personal cell phone?
Personal cell phone. Unless they reach out to me through the site, then I'll respond back through the site. If not, I always want them to respond to my cell, because more often than not, I'll have that. And it'll be easier for me to kind of go back and forth. Fortunately, I have a MacBook and an iPhone, so it's very easy for me to...
Speaking of.
Yeah, I'm surprised that one did that. I've been getting calls all day. So speaking of, it's... lost my train of thought.
See, what if somebody messaged you?
So I use my cell phone, so I try to respond to that. But because I have the MacBook iPhone combo, it's very easy for me to go ahead and copy and paste. Yeah, just copy and paste straight from the computer over to the notes, and boom. You know what I mean? I didn't lose a step.
Done. Amanda says, "Hey Armando, do you have a list of questions that you are asking?" And that obviously you answer that with your log, right? You should be. Any objection is what, well, I guess that is a different question, are asking, but I'll let you go ahead and answer that. But having an OR log, that'll help you ask the right questions for your objections. Exactly.
So the OR log will help you with, how to overcome those objections that you're hearing, keep the conversation flowing. In regards to the questions that I try to ask, most agents or teams will have a dream buyer's guide form. That's what I try to ask. So it's the same questions that you would ask if you were on a buying consult, because I do ask, to some extent, like, so what is it you're looking for? What area, what price range, how long you've been working? Would you be using cash or financing? You already spoken to a lender? How long have you been looking? What's your current living situation? Do we need a CMA? Do we need, because then it'll switch my mentality from just a buyer to a sell and a buy, you know what I mean? So if you have a dream buyer guide form, check it out. And if not, if it's the Amanda I'm thinking of, I believe she's in Josh's group, you could get the Dream Buyer's Guide form in there. And I just ask those questions and I turn it into questions. And I used to use it as a check mark. So it'd be like, are you going to be using cash or paying financing? Probably some finance. Okay, check. In an ideal world, what do you think you'd be? And then boom, you know what I mean? And I start getting those questions narrowed down first before I start thinking of the property. And the reason why is because once you start gravitating towards a property and what they're looking for, it becomes all of that. Like if they can't get qualified or if there's a hiccup or whatever, they're so mad that they can't go look at that they're going to try to go to another person's side or go try with another lender or whatever, to where I'm like, hey, let's realistically see first where you're at. That way we know your price range. So that way the search that we do end up setting you up on will be not only within your criteria, but within your price range. That way you don't have to look at things that you might not be able to afford. You could avoid any heartbreak. That way, we're just sticking within your monthly budget. So let's go ahead and get you in touch with the lender first. So I do that, and that's how it normally will go ahead and progress either the appointment or the client.
Cool. So having that dream buyer's guide. All right, let's
Yeah.
go. All right, let's see some that we haven't answered already. Um, do you leave? So that's my question about drips is mainly. So he says, so do you take someone off the drip with text but keep the emails, or do you just switch to email only drips or off all drips period when
I think I got it. So
from the initial conversation based off the time frame?
So fortunately now, in Perfect Storm at least, they broke it down to where there's a calling task drip and then an email and text drip. Those are two different drips, right?
Yep.
So I'll leave on the call drip, just like I said, so that way all I got to do is clear it out those first 14 days, but then it'll auto populate every 21 days.
Yep.
Email and text drip, that's when I go and I just shut off the SMS, the text through the site, so that way they at least still receive the emails. Because if not, if you pause or stop it, they're not getting any emails. Your Monday market up or your Monday motivations, your market updates, holiday emails, shit like that. So I want them to still get that and remember me, and I don't stop the drips until that BB or the listing agreement is signed.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. Is there a cutoff time before you don't answer calls? What time at night do you stop answering calls?
So if the client is up, or if it's a new lead and they're coming to the site, I'll reach out. Like I've reached out. If I'm up, or if they because just the other night somebody called me from, it was actually Florida, this morning. At my time, it was 4:20. So it must have been 7:20 there. Mm-hmm. So they're just getting ready to go to work, right? So or start their day. To me, fortunately, I was up. I was getting ready to go to the gym. I took that call. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, if the client doesn't care, I don't care. We have some clients that are janitorial crews, or they do EMTs at night or whatever, to where they go to work, or their main up hours are 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So I mean, I'll talk to them at like midnight or 1 a.m. or whatever, because to them that might as well be early afternoon. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it all varies. So
absolutely. So how do you handle? Paul asks. He uses I get this problem when I dial somebody off of my so he uses a Skype number, and when they don't pick up, he's moved on to another call, and they call back, and he doesn't know the number. Am I trying to auto-populate them up off Perfect Storm by the last 4 digits of their phone number, or?
Well, the number that they're calling back from should be their number on Perfect Storm, or the number that they called. So I would just use that number, pull it up in Perfect Storm, and then answer. Like that's why I don't like that, is because let's just say that they call back that same Skype number, and all of a sudden he's busy and he sends like an auto text like, hey, I'm at an appointment, or I'm on the line, I'll call you back. He just got a call from one number and a text from another random number. You know what I mean? It seems like 2 numbers. So to me, that's why, like, I fortunately have 2 phones, but at first I was like, dude, this sucks having 2 phones. I love it now. Like most of the time it's work on one phone, then I have my personal line. And it helps just keep things separated, but having 2 numbers on it was just a pain, man.
Yeah.
Like, so Google Voice, or I forgot, there's so many of those like apps out there, Skype, whatever, like you can create another line, but it's just, you're calling from one, you'll text from the other. It's just, I don't know. I personally like to try to stick it just to the one number. So I normally call, text, and email, or not email, but call and text from my one number. And then maybe every once in a while, if they went and ghost on me, or if I needed to try another number, then I'll try my other cell phone. I'm not opposed to it, but I try to keep it to just one number for everything as much as possible.
Yeah. So his question ended up being, do you auto-populate, like are you searching them based off the number that comes in? But yes, if the number that comes into Perfect Storm will be there, you'll be able to type in that number and see who it is before.
Yeah, because then that's when I look up and I see the previous conversation notes, or if I haven't spoken with them, then I can go ahead and notate it. I'm just going to go from there. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, and then he went further in and said, I have no way to know who it is I am talking to. I try stalling for time, trying to bring them up through the last 4 digits of the. Yeah, so I personally, Paul, would pick up, search their number first, find out who they are before you even call them back.
Yeah, before
especially
you
if you're
call
on
back,
another call.
don't be afraid to let it go to voicemail and then call them back. But even if you answered, carry on with the conversation. Just put it on speakerphone for a minute and watch the caller ID. Just, hey, what's going on? This is Armando. How are you? You can still be pulling it up. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Who is this? And asking if they don't get, well, I'm sorry. You called me. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. I'm sorry. Getting back to my computer right now. We're just getting back from lunch or an appointment, what have you. But yeah, I was probably called. So I don't have my information in front of me, but I was probably calling just to do a quick follow-up with you, seeing if there was anything our team could currently help with real estate wise. Go right back to my same intro spiel and keep it right there. And then keep it to the same pattern. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because you know that they're where they came in on, right?
Yeah. More often than not, it's like, unless you have multiple lead generation sites, you know who you were calling essentially. Maybe you don't know their name, but you know who you were calling or what you were calling them for. So it doesn't change. I've had plenty of conversations to where it came through, because remember back in the day when we first started, it didn't have those names. It would just be it'd be like no name and the number. I'd set appointments and shit. And they'd be like, okay, perfect. And I'm sorry, what was your full name, please? What was your full name? And then I thanks. I appreciate it, man. That's, to me, that's not important or what makes or breaks the conversation.
Yep, absolutely. And then, so Ray says, so you stop the drip after you contact them live on the phone? No, you let those keep going. And then you just switch it based off of the time frame. Quang says, how do you set the appointment with people saying over 6 months and 1 year, and they say they aren't in a rush? We kind of went over that, obviously. I'm just trying to get through this quick.
Yeah, I still set the appointment. Our agents are trained and very dialed in on getting a buyer broker for 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. And we just sell the value. Hey, listen, we're going to put a lot of time, energy, and effort in getting your credit where it needs to be. We're going to be doing this, that, and the other, working on this all together, just so that way our time isn't in vain. We're asking for this commitment that we'll give you all this time, energy, and effort. We'll get you to that finish line. But you just signed a commitment that once we do and you're ready, that you're just going to go ahead and at least allow us the opportunity to help you purchase that home. And most people don't. They're like, you know what? That's so fair. Perfect. Sign in. I mean, so many of our people have BBs for, I'd say the average BB is like 18 months. Nice. If it's not, because we give it over. Like if they're going to be ready in a year, let's give us an extra 6 months just in case. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And we don't have to worry about it in the end. Lori asks, do you answer your phone with just hello, or do you answer it professionally? Hello, this is Armando with Revista Real Estate Group. Is your voicemail message just your name, or does it include that as well?
You know what? I got to go back and check it. I think it just says, hey, what's going on? You've reached Armando. Sorry, I missed you. Please leave your information. I don't want them to know I'm calling on real estate. I'd have to go back and check because I'm going to have the two phones and I know it's similar. But it all depends, right? So if it's somebody that I've been in communication with, hey, what's going on? Armando Gomez, Revista Real Estate. If it's somebody that I haven't spoken to yet and the number, because as soon as I speak to them and we're supposed to do some follow-up, I save their number in my phone. So if you come up with a name, we've spoken, we're supposed to do some type of follow-up, or I should be able to help you somehow, some way, some form. If it doesn't come up with a number, then, hey, what's going on? This is Armando. And just short and simple, because then if it's somebody on the first attempt, they're like, who's Armando? Oh, hi, appreciate you calling back. My name's Armando. I was actually just doing a quick follow-up with you. Looks like you had recently been on one of our home search websites, checking out some properties online. Just wanted to see if there was anything our team could currently help you with real estate-wise. Same pitch, you know what I mean?
Yep.
That's why I like having the same pitch. Whatever your pitch is or whatever you feel comfortable with, again, make it your own. But that should be how you intro most of your calls. So that way, whether it be they're calling off a CRM, it's a new lead, it's an old lead, it's somebody you've spoken to. Even if I've spoken to you 10 times, hey, what's going on, Armando Gomez, Revista Real Estate? Just doing a quick follow-up, seeing if there's anything we can do for you now.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing every time. So you don't sound robotic, you know? Mm-hmm. Tyler asks, what is your response to people who say they've already bought and sold multiple properties in their lifetime, so they don't see a point in setting a meeting?
How long ago did you buy? When was the last time you buy? Did you buy here so where I'm here in Arizona, did you buy here in the Valley? Who did you work with? Who facilitated your transaction? I start picking it apart so that way I can kind of see. A lot of the time people who say that, and I don't mean this to sound rude, but like, okay, yeah, they bought in 3 or 4 houses. The last time they did it was when the market crashed. Yeah. Well, even some of the sooner ones are, I bought a 2008, 2011. Oh, so when the market was bad, hey, just know that it is completely different. Here's what's changed since you've been out of the market. Re-inform that, sell that value. Here, this is what we do now to help. Here's the best way to go about it. My job, especially if it's a buyer, because I know here it's free. Our services are all free. What my job is to ensure we do what's best for you fiscally and time-wise. So here's how I can protect you and help you. And then who doesn't want free assistance? You know what I mean? And as long as you can contribute more value and give more knowledge than your competitors, I mean, it should be pretty simple. You know what I mean? And then from there, it's just following up. Okay, well, you're looking to buy. Awesome. How do you find your properties? Are you still currently talking to those agents? Is that something that you're interested in, is interviewing other candidates or options or availabilities? So that way we can go ahead and go over how we might be able to assist you or what differentiates us. Same thing, like still keep asking those questions to where you put it back on them, because everybody who's been a badass so far that I've talked to, they've thanked us so much. Like, oh my God, I couldn't have done this without you. I didn't know that this and that, or this had changed or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, no, hey, I get it. Like, trust me, I've purchased and owned more than 20 cars in my life. That doesn't mean that I can go in just all of a sudden to the car dealership and be like, hey, this is what's up. To an extent I can. But there's some shit that they need to do and be like, oh, okay, you know what? All right, cool, let's do that. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So Adrian says, I have perfect storm. Are you having best success with the list home ads? Great question, because that's the one that we had the answers for the other day. And are you sending video, email, and video text for auto responses? So yes, those are being sent out.
Not for email for auto response, but I will send out personalized emails throughout the follow-up.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. But the auto video text goes out. Or are you doing just video text,
but I think he said email as well, like video email.
Video email? No, I don't think you're allowed to, are you?
Not on the intro, but like I put a picture and then I hyperlink a link to it, so that way they could press play and it'll act as a video.
Correct.
So I do that, but not on the intro.
Yeah, and the best success is obviously single property ads. You and I had that conversation the other day with the amount. I mean, we have run thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to Josh's CRM, and 100% the single property ads have 100% been the best.
And most of our leads, if all of them, man, I mean, you would know better, but we don't really do seller leads or seller ads. We do buyer ads, and we're able to obtain a lot more buyers because before they get ready to list, they want to go out, see what properties are available, see what the market looks like, and then we find them. You know what I mean? So that's why we end up doing a lot of duals. So I don't do seller ads, but that's how we get our sellers, is through asking the questions, prospecting them to make sure that we know where they're at, what the situation is, so that way we know how to best go about it.
Absolutely. And so again, in Optimized Real Estate Group, I stressed single property ads. One, you're going to get the lowest cost per lead, and two, you're giving the consumer what they want. Like, there's so many times where we put the homes list ads, and they work. Don't get me wrong, they absolutely work. But there's so many times I see it, like, oh, that property, you're using a home that's not for sale, one, which there's nothing wrong with that, because I still do it in my business. But the consumer's not stupid anymore. They've seen so many single property. Like, I'm even giving them the price in some of my ads.
Nice.
Giving them the price, giving them bedrooms and bathrooms. Guess what they want? They want to see the property. They don't give a shit about what the price is. Like, they don't care.
An example of that being, so one of the ads you have currently running for us right now is for a property that's listed at $779,000. Now, our average price point is like $250, $275. So if we get somebody who buys in the 400 range, we're like, this is going to be a big one. So to us, I know that there hasn't been one person that came through off that ad and then asked, oh, what was the price? Because they maybe didn't see it or whatever, or they did see it and they're like, oh, $779,000, I can't afford that. Hey, no worries at all. I can't afford it either. But what budget are you trying to stick around? What is it that you're looking for? What was it about that property that bought you buy? Now, that property has the three main characteristics on it. Is it has a casita, it has a pool, and it's single story. So to me, I'm like, hey, what was it about the thing? And those have been the three most. Well, I really like the casita or the mother-in-law house. Oh, okay. So is that the type of properties you're looking for? Is with like a guest house? Does a mother-in-law suite work? So start like picking there. Oh, okay. Well, where are you at in regards to the process? Have you been looking for a while? You just started looking? And then same thing, keep asking questions. Okay, well, when you find something, would you be paying cash, using financing? Oh, okay, well, hey, listen, here's what we're going to want to do. Pitch the appointment. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. So again, that price is irrelevant. Perfect. So I love that. Let's go through some here that we haven't answered already. So they're talking about Eric posted your group name in there. Kelly asked, for people who are chatty but not ready to buy or sell now, how do you keep those conversations plus or minus 7 minutes? Coming from someone who likes to chat, meaning she likes to chat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But it's not always productive.
Yeah, see, so it's probably her who carries on the conversation. So I would just be more mindful of that. So there's some times where it's like, as long as you, because you could be something, because I have those too, right? Like we live right next to a retirement community, and boy, those people love to talk. I mean, unfortunately, they don't have too many people to speak to. So I don't mind giving them that couple of minutes and talking to them to build our rapport, but with an objective. Like when I'm asking the questions and building that rapport, it's, I'm trying to get a feel for them, trying to make that connection. But those questions are with purpose. It helps me figure out what their timeline is, what their situation is, shit like that, to where I know how to best service that client. So that way it's not like, for example, if I go over everything with somebody and I'm like, okay, cool, this is what we're going to do, this is that. And then they keep talking. Oh, okay. Hey, that's awesome. Or no, I didn't watch the game, but hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and actually my lender's calling me right now. Or you know what? My lender just walked in my office. Or, hey, you know what? There's always a reason, right? So it's like, hey, listen, so-and-so just came into the office, or you know what? They're calling me right now. I really want to go over your file with them real quick.
Oh, we lost Armando for a minute. Bear with us, guys. He'll come back. Guys, bear with us. He's going to refresh his screen. Bear with us, guys. I'm getting him on the phone now so you can refresh the screen. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Awesome. Perfect. So perfect time for Armando for us to talk.
How's it going, Armando?
There. Perfect time. Oh, and I think we lost him. So hopefully he'll jump back on. Just give him just another moment, and we'll finish this up. That's how you end a call. That is how you end a call when somebody is chatty, right? We talked for a long time, and let's see if I can get him back on here real quick. Blaine says it's possibly Russian hackers. It could be. Absolutely could be. Perfect. So Armando is back. Give it a second. There it is. We lost you for a second there. And he's back.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. So that's how you end a conversation.
Mic drop.
Exactly. Boom. All right. Perfect. So so there's always a reason for you to get off the call. Let me see where we were at. Lance asked, would this be on demand? Yeah, there's going to be a replay video for it. Adrian says, where can I find a video on your how-to for single property ads? If you're not in, Adrian, I believe you're in the Real Estate Optimized group. If not, inside the Real Estate Optimized group, not trying to pitch anything there, but it's $497 for the course. If you just go to optimizerealestate.com/497, it's 2.optimizerealestate.com/497. You'll get the course there for $497. But if not, I believe you. If it's right, Adrian, I'm thinking about. I believe he's in there. So that was the last question, I believe. Let me see. Yep. I think we got through them all. A little bit longer than we anticipated. So Armando, I appreciate your time.
Of course, man.
Last, let me touch on this. So for those of you that are struggling to generate leads in your real estate business, my business is Optimized Real Estate. Yes, we have the course, but we are looking for agents to help grow and scale their business. So what we have done is, if you go, let me put the sticky note, if it's even still here. Let me paste it in here. So we want to schedule a call with you if you're looking to grow and scale your business. Again, our mission is to help top agents, top brokers in the country and in Canada grow and scale their business one lead at a time. So if you want to schedule a call, see if you're a good fit to work with us, partner with us, so we can generate those leads for you so you can focus on growing and scaling and only having to work on converting, because we know that it's not a lead follow-up, but when you're spending all of the time that you have in your day to learn how to generate leads every single month, you don't have the time for the follow-up. And Armando has just spent 2.5 hours of his time diving super deep. So hopefully you guys got one thing out of it that you can use to implement in your business today, because I sure have. I have probably like 5 or 6 different things that are written down. So again, Armando, where can individuals go to follow you? And I know you're doing some coaching as well. We're not here to pitch, but where can individuals go to? Obviously, we have the Facebook group, Persistent and Consistent Lead Generation or Lead Conversion.
Online lead follow-up and conversion. Those are the things that I like to focus on. Is I feel like I can help people in follow-up and conversion on most things, but I like to keep it specific to online lead. Like I said, I like to keep it where I'm comfortable and in my wheelhouse. So you could check me out there, persistentandconsistent.com. If you have any further questions or maybe want to talk about coaching, or if I could assist in any way, my email address is info@armandogomez@gmail.com. And then if not, just my personal Facebook, Armando Gomez Jr. You can go ahead and find me there, in there, daily as well. So just I'm around, you know what I mean? Reach out anytime if I could help. I hope that everybody found, value in this, so that I've been able to help in some way, shape, or form. And if there's, further questions or anything like that you guys have, any specific videos you might want me to record or to put out, go ahead and, reach out, let me know what those look like, and I'll go ahead and start pumping those out in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Look for that lead generation. You're tired of figuring that out. Again, schedule a call. If not, if you're looking to grow and scale and convert more leads consistently, Armando is the guy to go to. So definitely reach out to him and see how you guys can work together, or just follow him in his group where he's going to drop massive knowledge in there, as well as Real Estate Facebook Marketing. That's the free group for us, Optimize Real Estate. If you guys are searching on the group, you won't be accepted, but go to Real Estate Facebook Marketing and we'll be dropping a bunch of knowledge as well. So again, persistentandconsistent.com and 2.optimizerealestate.com/schedule. I also put Armando's email inside of the chat. So go ahead and copy and paste that, save that somewhere. So if you have any questions, his time is not free. So let's keep that in mind. And I say that respectively, only because what we found and what I found is those that want the one-on-one, that like, we don't want to become the, hey, you got to make, because we want there to be some sort of skin in the game for you to actually implement what he's teaching. So, but yeah, go to the group.
Yeah, normally if you want to just talk, it's less implementation. You're not taking it as serious or as committed. Yeah. But if you're involved and you're paying, you're going to be held in that shit. You're going to be doing that shit. And it's easier to hold you accountable. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
That's why too, because everybody else was, you mind if I pick your brain? Sure. And then wouldn't implement.
And they don't do anything.
Yeah. And to me, I take everybody's success, or everybody that I work with, I take their success personal. Like, so if I'm like, hey, we do this and we do that, we're going to get there, and they don't do it, it probably fucking kills me more than it does them. Because I'm like, man, come on. Like, I know it. So
yeah,
that's why I'm lying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys need anything, again, those are the 2 places to go. I appreciate all of your time. Armando, thank you so much for agreeing to get on here. The next one we'll be in your group maybe, and we'll do we'll combine it. We'll do half and half. I'm generating a lead for you. You're converting them. What does that look like? So again, I appreciate it. If you guys need anything at all, I got to rush out of here now and go to a listing appointment. So if you guys need anything, reach out to us. Again, consistentandpersistent.com, and then Real Estate Facebook Marketing. Again, take care, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
Appreciate you, fam. Thanks, man.